A man is lying face down on a massage bed. Fully dressed technician sitting next to him, awkwardly rubbing his shoulders like she's been forced to do her homework. The door explodes open. Cops charge in expecting the biggest scandal of their careers. And what do they find? The most boring, most legitimate, most textbook shoulder massage in the entire history of that street. The team leader stares, blinks, apologizes, actually recommends a better parlor down the road. That same guy, 20 minutes later, is calmly walking out with a plastic dragon toy in his pocket. Nobody knows it yet, but that toy is about to be worth more than most people's houses. Same guy, 3 hours later, swinging a fire axe through a dorm room full of walking corpses like he's chopping firewood. Same guy by sunrise, standing on top of a truck, blasting dance music into the sky, personally directing a polite, orderly line of zombies to jump one by one into a giant industrial shredder. He's actually yelling at them. You with one eye, stop showing off. Get in line. You with no legs, drag faster. You're holding up the queue. Everyone else in the apocalypse is screaming, crying, hiding under beds. Our boy is collecting loot cards like it's a Black Friday sale. By dawn, a leaderboard pops up in front of every survivor on Earth. And every jaw drops. Because at rank number 2, 3, 4, you've got the top soldiers of the world. And at rank number 1, floating alone in gold letters, is one name nobody's ever heard of. SS rank. A rank that isn't even supposed to exist yet. The whole global chat channel is losing its mind. Cheat, hacker, bug, impossible. But here's the thing you need to know before we go any further. He's not cheating. He's just already lived this apocalypse once. He knows every monster that's coming. He knows where every rare treasure is hiding. He knows exactly which trusted friend is going to stab him in the back the second the stakes get high enough. And that last part is the reason he's smiling. Because this time, that traitor is going to eat every debt himself. His name is Yuan. Rewind about 6 hours before all that madness. He's sitting on a cheap sofa in a cheap apartment, staring at the news, half a container of cold takeout on the table. Life going absolutely nowhere. A regular nobody. The kind of guy his boss saves in his phone as grandson because he thinks it's funny to bully him for after-hours reports. Except this nobody just came back from the dead. 6 months from now, well, in the timeline he actually lived, the world went to war over something called the killing space. Every 10 days that space swallows 100,000 fresh people and drops them into a monster-infested nightmare world. Survive, come out stronger. Fail, come out in a body bag. Simple math. Yuan spent years grinding his way up from zero. Never chosen in the early rounds. Fought his way up killing the leaked monsters that crawled into reality. Only on the 9th descent did his name finally come up in the lottery, and only then did he taste real strength. Then came the National Destiny War. A friend he trusted, a snake named Jotay, sold his location for a bag of coin. Half the planet's armies closed in at once. Yuan personally chopped through 1,000 of them before he finally went down. Now, remember that name, Jotay, because that's the guy this whole story is built around punishing. Type Jotay in the comments if you want to see him get what's coming. Because the second he shows up on screen, our boy is not planning to be polite. The point is, Yuan died. And Yuan opened his eyes again. Same body, same face, same stale takeout, same dumb boss ringtone chirping on the table. Except now there's a golden pulse humming under his skin. A trait plundering system, gold tier, and attached to it, an ability called the Eye of Insight, also gold. The kind of cheat other people would sell an organ for. Rip the powers straight out of every monster he kills and stack them on himself like collectibles. Frost Domain, his. Earth Escape, his. Super Speed, his. Anything a corpse or a survivor had, he takes. His hand shakes for 1 second. Then he laughs quietly. Then he blacklists his boss mid-call. The apocalypse is knocking. Who cares about a summary report? He checks his wrist. There's a small mark under the skin, the space imprint. The doorway ticket. Everyone else on Earth is going to grow one of these in 6 hours when the countdown ends. But he already has his. Which means he can walk into the very first descent instead of waiting 9 cycles like last time. He gets to skip years of pain. He pulls up his stats. Strength 10, Constitution 8, Speed 9, Spirit 20. Basically an average guy who read too many books. Talent, the Eye of Insight, gold. Skill, none. Killing value, 0. Combat rating, blank. Fine, whatever. He's not planning to stay average for very long. Now, memory time. In his old life, he watched everyone fight and die over specific rare items called energy pearls. Ordinary trinkets that transform the moment the apocalypse begins into little glowing balls of pure stat points. Free power, no grind, just chug and level up. Only a few ever surfaced in the entire country over the whole war. Millions of people would kill each other trying to find one, and Yuan happens to know exactly where two of them are sleeping right now, unguarded, disguised, in his own city. One is inside a plastic dragon pearl toy sitting on a table in a private room at a place called the Pongchong Massage Parlor. The other is inside a stone that's been quietly propping up a food stall on the local antique street. Nobody knows. Nobody suspects. He can literally walk over and pocket both. You already know which one he's picking first, right? Yeah, the massage parlor. Because he's got time to kill and might as well have some fun with it. Cut to Pongchong Street. Half the men in the city are here. It's basically a paradise and a wallet grinder rolled into one. Yuan puts on a mask, walks up to reception like it's a normal Tuesday, and asks for room 688. The receptionist doesn't blink. Guys wear masks here all the time. Some show up wrapped up like they're crossing a desert. She waves him in and calls him a regular. Bro didn't even set foot inside yet, and he's already a regular. He enters the room, and the second his eyes land on the table, there it is. The twin dragons playing with a pearl. Cheap plastic. Absolute junk. Worth maybe 2 rupees on a good day, and yet in about 5 hours this humble little toy is going to become a treasure countless people will straight up murder each other for. Comedy at its finest. Reception hands him a tablet with the technician menu. It's basically a car dealership. Some models are advertised on their headlights, some on aerodynamics, some on their rear ends. Yuan picks one who looks fine, taps yes, and lets them upsell him some full ascension package for $1,000. Sure, whatever gets the door closed. 3 minutes later, a woman walks in and introduces herself as Technician 38. Ting Ting. At his service. He looks at her, straight face, and tells her to go take a shower. She frowns. Points out she literally showered an hour ago. He tells her to shower again. She sighs. Goes. The second the bathroom door clicks, Yuan is on his feet. 2 steps to the table. 1 firm pull. The dragon pearl pops off the ornament and lands in his palm. Still just plastic. The apocalypse hasn't hit yet, but in a few hours this will be a golden ball of pure stat points. He drops it in his pocket, sits back down, flicks on the TV, and settles in. He already paid for the room. Might as well enjoy the sofa. 5 minutes pass. Ting Ting walks out in a towel, ready for the special package. Yuan lies down on the massage bed and tells her to put her clothes back on and come do her job. Her whole face freezes. She's genuinely trying to figure out if this is a prank. She dresses, comes over, starts working his shoulders like she's been sentenced to hard labor. Massage isn't even her specialty. She just got her nails done yesterday, thank you very much. She keeps hinting, hopefully, that maybe he wants some other service. He, eyes closed, tells her his shoulders and neck are fine actually, and requests a head massage instead. She lights up, reaches for a completely different part of his anatomy. He catches her wrist and calmly clarifies. The head on top, not the one down there. Ma'am, please, be professional. Her soul leaves her body. What kind of maniac comes to a place like this for a literal massage? She's questioning every life decision she has ever made. And that's when the front door of the entire parlor explodes. Turns out the local police picked tonight, of all nights, to run a huge morality raid on Pongchong Street. Every private room is getting kicked open. Half-naked customers are being marched into the hallway. Team Leader M is personally leading the charge, and when he reaches room 688, he presses his ear to the door and hears things that, in his rich raid experience, can only mean one thing. He kicks it in. Guns out. Everybody freeze. And then his voice just dies in his throat. Because on the massage bed is a man wrapped politely in a robe. Fully dressed technician standing beside him, kneading his neck like a nervous auntie. The most PG-13, insurance-approved, family-friendly massage in the country. And the only weird thing in the entire scene is the pure murderous rage radiating off Ting Ting's face. An hour later, Yuan is standing at the parlor's entrance, ID back in his hand, Team Leader M, patting his shoulder with the most complicated expression a policeman has ever produced. He gently suggests that next time, our guy should try the blind masseur place, 1 street over. They're apparently very good. Yuan nods seriously. Agrees this place was very unprofessional. Says he was just doing quality checks. Walks out. Bro literally saved himself the entire fee thanks to a police raid he had zero idea was coming. Best massage parlor visit in history. 0 rupees spent. 1 future superpower obtained. Type quality check in the comments if that whole scene made you laugh, because his poker face during that raid deserves an award. Next stop, Antique Street. Same deal. The stone with the second energy pearl sealed inside it has been holding up some stall for who knows how long. Nobody's going to miss a rock. Yuan waits till the vendors pack up, walks over and takes it. Casual as buying bread. An hour after that, he's home. 2 lumps on the table, a rock and a plastic pearl. Both worthless right now. Both about to become the most expensive items in existence. There's roughly an hour left on the countdown. He doesn't bother prepping weapons. Nothing outside the killing space can be carried inside anyway. Better to conserve energy and settle the mind. Midnight hits. Every person on Earth who can see the countdown suddenly finds a matching mark on their wrist. A voice booms in their heads. Killing space is now open. You will be teleported in 3 minutes. 2:59, 2:58. Panic across the world. Yuan barely glances at the countdown. His eyes are on the table, because both the plastic pearl and the rock just went through a full glow-up. The dragon toy is now a solid gold sphere pulsing with living light. The stone has cracked open on its own, and inside it, another gold pearl is humming softly. 2 energy pearls, right in front of him. In a few years, people are going to kill each other in the streets over just one of these. He has 2. He triggers the Eye of Insight, reads them. Each pearl grants +5 points to any attribute of his choice. He almost laughs out loud. +5 each? 10 free points total? Bro is about to walk into the apocalypse pre-buffed like a boss fight cheat code. He picks both up, touches them to his imprint, and dumps the energy in. Constitution +7, speed +3. In the early descents, stamina and speed are king. Last longer and run faster. That's how you don't die on day 1. The energy floods through him in a single breath. His body physically changes. Fat melts off. His back stops aching. His legs stop throbbing. Real strength ripples through his stride. His panel refreshes. Constitution jumped from 8 to 15. Speed from 9 to 12. Strength still 10. Spirit still 20. Talent still gold. Not squishy anymore. Small upgrade. And that's before the actual apocalypse has even started. Countdown hits 0. The world blurs. His vision snaps back into focus in a completely different room. 4-person college dormitory. A student ID card sitting on the desk. Sunlight outside. Time inside the space runs on its own clock, disconnected from the real world. Rules text hangs in the air like a game menu. Survive 1 full day. Monsters descend in 10 minutes. Non-space items forbidden inside. Kill monsters, maybe get cards. Cards can't leave, except, well, our boy has a little loophole he hasn't awakened yet. He skims the rules, confirms they haven't changed from what he remembers. Perfect. His butterfly effect hasn't messed anything up. Zombies are still the first monster type. Then the door creaks open and 2 roommates walk in. The dorm's other students. They're chatty, grinning, casual. One of them turns to Yuan and says something like, "Yo bro, no afternoon class, let's play some games." The identity the space has stapled to Yuan is freshman student. Cute. But here's the ugly part. In 10 minutes, when the countdown ends, these 2 smiling roommates are going to transform into flesh-eating zombies and try to eat him. That's their whole job in the space. So Yuan does what any polite roommate would do. He walks over, chats a bit, then chops both of them across the neck faster than they can react. Both bodies crumple. He drags them onto the bunks, ties them up with a bedsheet, sets a fire axe on the desk, and calmly waits for the timer. Cold? Absolutely. But last life he watched thousands of people freeze up at this exact moment and die because they hesitated. Space Rule 1. Survive. There is no second rule. 10 minutes tick down. The system announces the monsters have descended. The 2 tied bodies start convulsing, skin drying out. Color draining, that signature rotten stench rising off them. In one breath, they finish the transition. Human to zombie. Milk-white pupils lock onto him. They thrash against the bedsheet, growling. Yuan flicks the Eye of Insight on. Reads them. Common zombie. Combat rating. Listed literally as scum. And attached to each of them, 2 plunderable traits. Zombie aura at white rank. Super hearing at yellow rank. His grin actually breaks through. Zombie aura. On the very first pair. On day 1. The space is basically handing him a golden ticket and asking if he'd like a bow on it. He picks up the axe. 2 clean swings. 2 prompts. Killing value +1/+1. And a third prompt announces that his first zombie kill has unlocked the public chat, the trading platform, and the trade harvest. Above each corpse, 2 orbs of light float up. 1 white, 1 yellow. He reaches out. They vanish into his hand. Zombie aura, acquired. Super hearing, acquired. Instant upgrade. His ears twitch. Suddenly a mosquito flying a full meter to his left sounds like it's screaming inside his skull. He hears the fabric of his own shirt shifting. Every sound in a 10-meter radius sharpens like a knife. Then he switches on the zombie aura. His face stays human. His body stays human. But the living warmth in him just turns off. A cold, rotten scent rolls off his skin. In terms of vibes alone, he is now, officially, a zombie. You see where this is going, right? He opens the dorm door. Steps into the corridor. 3 actual zombies are shuffling around out there, and the moment they see him move, they all turn and start drifting toward him. Because to them, he smells like a slow snack. Yuan doesn't move. He backs up 1 step and grips the axe. The first zombie reaches the doorway. Sniffs, registers fellow corpse, loses interest instantly, shuffles past him into the room. Second zombie. Same reaction. Third. Same. All 3 of them just wander past our boy and mill around the dorm like confused party guests. Yuan cannot hold his grin back anymore. He raises the axe over the little cluster of them, and like a farmer through cabbage, 3 heads pop off in one clean motion. Blood arcs across the walls. 3 more killing points ding into his panel. And then, plink, a little translucent card floats up out of one of the bodies. Loot drop. His first one. He snatches it out of the air, reads the description, and almost bursts out laughing. It's a card for a run-fast brand electric scooter. 60 kilometers per hour. Even the traffic police can't catch it. He mutters that it's not that they can't catch him, it's that they'd absolutely stop him for riding without a helmet. But he pockets it anyway, because in this space, cards are currency, and he already knows something no one else does. At the end of the day, every unused card automatically converts into 100 killing value on exit, which means cards are literally money. And most survivors right now are burning through their killing value gossiping in the chat channel because they have no idea. That info gap, that right there, is his mine. He walks out the door, aura on, axe wet, super hearing sharp, the whole building full of shuffling snacks who think he's one of them. Modest opening goal, 100 kills. He kicks the next dorm's door in. 10 seconds later, he walks back out with the axe redder than before, and heads to the one after that. 15 minutes in, 3 cards deep, he pauses long enough to check them. A scooter card, a pair of plain black stockings, and a brand name pack of women's sanitary pads. 8 to a box. Useless to him? Sure. But there's a saying in the years to come, no card is useless, only wrong scenario. Picture a woman trapped in a killing space and hit by a heavy period. Suddenly those pads outrank food and water combined. Picture a survivor trying to rob a store. How does anyone even guess your intentions without a stocking pulled over your face? Every card is money to somebody. He pockets them all. Then he opens the chat channel and just takes a moment. Because it is chaos in there. Some guy is trapped in a hotel bathroom begging for toilet paper. Some woman is sobbing about her first kill. Some dude is asking if a scratch is going to turn him. Someone else is trying to find people at a mall. Hundreds of messages a minute. Each one costs 1 killing value to send. Yuan just shakes his head. Every one of these people is bleeding out their currency in group chat and they don't even know it. He opens the trading platform. Empty. Not one listing. Nobody has figured out that cards are worth anything yet. His eyes narrow. He smells profit. He is currently the only person on Earth who knows the endgame of these cards. Which means every card these survivors drop later, he can buy for pennies right now. But first, he needs a better weapon. That axe is already going blunt. Time to go shopping. He glances at the scooter card, activates it, and poof! A real electric scooter appears in the middle of the dorm room. 2 minutes later, he's cruising across the campus grounds, humming a little tune under his breath about his beloved little scooter that never gets stuck in traffic. Zombies wander past. Every single one sniffs, registers fellow zombie, and loses interest. He's basically the world's most unfair delivery boy right now. Then he hears it, a woman's scream, real one, from up above. He looks up, second floor. A tall woman in pajamas is balanced on an outdoor air conditioner unit, arms flailing, screaming down at the handsome sir to please save her. Zombies are leaning out of the window right next to her, claws swiping through empty air. More zombies gathered under her on the ground. No way up, no way down. She spots him and floods with hope, waves both arms, screams that she will do anything. Yuan looks up, cups his mouth, yells back, "Believe in herself, stay exactly where she is." Her whole face lights up. She nods furiously, swears she won't move an inch. And before she finishes the sentence, Yuan flicks the throttle, spins the scooter around, and rides off. Bro just told her not to move and then abandoned her. Legendary. Comments section, is this savage or fair? Because he did tell her a real strategy. As long as she doesn't move, the space is only 1 day long. She'll get teleported out at midnight with rewards, whether she eats or drinks or not. Standing still is genuinely the correct play. But she doesn't know that. So behind him, her voice explodes into screaming curses, calling him a bastard, demanding to know if he's even a man. He twists the throttle harder and rides faster, because that, right there, is human nature laid bare. In the killing space, saving your own skin is the only rule that matters. And every fool who casts himself as the hero learns inside 1 hour flat exactly what the phrase human cruelty really means. His destination? The local police special forces armory. Because if you're going to kill zombies at scale, you don't do it with a fire axe. You do it with a submachine gun. He passes more survivors along the way, some shouting from windows, some already half dead, 1 or 2 trying to seduce him from across the street. He glances at exactly none of them. The streets are complete carnage, cars abandoned everywhere, storefronts blown open. He's honestly glad he grabbed a scooter instead of a real car. The traffic is so bad, a car would have been trapped at the campus gate. Then he hits a wall. Road construction. Actual literal road construction. Fencing thrown right across the street. Pipes stacked next to open pits. His navigation didn't even flag it. Yuan mutters that the app is trash. 1-star review. He ditches the scooter and jogs the last kilometer on foot. The police station courtyard is packed with zombies. Every one of them in uniform. Fun visual, honestly. He throws a stone at a trash can nearby to test them. Sure enough, 5 of them lock onto the sound and start drifting toward it. Across the street, hiding inside a shop, 2 other survivors are watching all of this happen. One of them, a guy in thick black-rimmed glasses, is halfway through a full villain speech to his sidekick about how he has read enough web novels to know how zombies work and how he has expertly baited the courtyard clear using distraction tactics. The acne-faced sidekick is nervously agreeing. Then the sidekick tugs the glasses guy's sleeve and points at the street. "Bro, look. That guy is just walking." Glasses turns, and through the doorway he sees a young man strolling calmly down the road, unhurried, unbothered, while every zombie around him shifts back and forth without the slightest interest in eating him. The glasses guy mutters that this is impossible. Doesn't make sense. The sidekick adds that the stranger is heading to the same police station they are. Glasses' face slowly warps into pure existential horror, and meanwhile our boy Yuan reaches the courtyard gate and stops. Because 5 uniformed zombies are all standing around a specific trash can, staring at it with intense fascination, like it just insulted their mother. He looks at the trash can. Nothing special about it. No blood, no bones. Just a trash can. He shrugs. Doesn't matter. Then he turns to the zombies, and in a completely flat voice, tells them to stop crowding the bin and get back to their posts. And I want you to picture this next part clearly. 5 zombies, in police uniforms, slowly turn their heads, look at each other, and then actually, shuffle back to the station entrance and start patrolling like nothing happened. Yuan nods, satisfied. More guards on the door means a safer building. He walks past them, opens the front door, and steps inside like he's clocking in for his shift. Across the street, the glasses guy is having a full meltdown. He whispers to his sidekick that the stranger just undid 30 minutes of his brilliant distraction plan with 1 sentence. His voice cracks. He damns Yuan to the depths of every possible afterlife. Then he pauses, pushes his glasses up. declares with the absolute certainty of a man who reads too much fiction. That guy isn't a survivor. That guy is a zombie. A high-level second evolution zombie with a human face who can command lower zombies. He read about these in an apocalypse novel once. The sidekick's jaw drops. It all makes sense now. Type web novel expert in the comments if that guy's diagnosis actually cracked you up. Because he's technically right and also completely, catastrophically wrong at the same time. Inside the station, Yuan slaughters his way through every uniformed zombie in his path and finds what he came for: the building blueprints. He locates the Special Police Equipment Management Department in seconds. 10 minutes later, he's standing in front of rows and rows of tactical gear, guns, and ammunition, and he cannot stop grinning. No body armor. Too heavy. Tactical vest instead. Night vision goggles. Yes, please. 2 submachine guns because he can't carry more. Bullets, as many as he can grab. A handful of tear gas and flashbangs for emergencies. His only regret is no grenades. Grenades in this country are locked behind stacks of paperwork even for special police. Whatever, he has enough. Then he does something clever. He walks over to the trading platform and lists all the stuff he doesn't want. Stun guns, batons, flashbangs, riot shields, body armor, for 1 card each, any type. He keeps the actual lethal weapons for himself, because listing those would be like handing enemies a sniper rifle for free. Free market info gap. Watch the harvest roll in. He shuts the armory door and heads back to the courtyard. But this time, he herds every wandering zombie inside the compound and closes the courtyard gate behind them. His personal little army guarding his personal little gold mine. Nobody's raiding his armory while he's out. Across the street, Glasses Guy watches the gate lock in front of him with nearly 10 zombies penned inside, and quietly swears to be Yuan's mortal enemy for life. Yuan doesn't even notice, because he's already on the roof of a shop 1 street over, looking down at the zombies scattered on the street below, and pulling something out of the box behind him. A whole bundle of firecrackers. Hand length, loud. He flicks a lighter, tosses the bundle down. The firecrackers hit the pavement and explode into a wall of noise that shreds the silence of the whole street. Every zombie within earshot snaps upright like their power just came back on, and starts walking, dragging, stumbling toward the source. From the roof, Yuan watches the horde swell in real time. 10, 30, 60, 100 plus. The whole block funneling itself into one dense, growling meat pile right under his feet. He waits until the first bundle burns out, then bends down and lights another. The noise never breaks. Zombies keep pouring in from every alley, every shop, every doorway. It's basically a very loud, very cursed Pied Piper concert, and our boy is the star. Once the crowd is thick enough to hurt his eyes, he grins wide, hoists both submachine guns like he's in an action movie poster, and, without even bothering to aim, opens up on the horde below. Muzzle flames flash, bullets rain down. The front rank of zombies just shreds, skulls popping, bodies dropping, blood painting the pavement like abstract art. He doesn't stop. He can't stop. The trigger is his happy button, and he's holding it down. Because think about Last Life. Last Life, after clawing through an entire killing space, 100 kills was a proud tally. And here he is, on descent number 1, mowing down zombies by the 100 like it's target practice at the arcade. Every single kill is stacking future power onto his bones. Several minutes of pure metal storm later, his ammo is nearly dry. The muzzles are so hot the air is warping around them, and the entire street is carpeted with corpses. Not one zombie left twitching. A literal river of blood running downhill. He checks his panel. Killing value, 320. 300, in one press of a trigger. He almost gets emotional about it, honestly. He drops down into the sea of limbs and blood and starts scooping cards. The drop rate isn't amazing. You kind of have to bend over and pick them up by hand, which is the one genuinely annoying part of this whole plundering business. But the sheer volume makes up for it. 8 cards, shampoo, sterilizing spray, a high-explosive grenade, bottled water, 2 packs of fish-flavored shredded pork. All of it eventually becomes useful. He pockets the grenade separately, keeping it ready in case someone tries anything cute. Then, footsteps. 3 survivors come sprinting out of the far end of the street, shouting at each other to run, that the guy is right behind them. They round the corner, take in the scene, a full street coated in dead zombies, and one guy standing calmly in the middle of it holding two smoking submachine guns, and their bodies just lock up. One of them stammers something obvious about the ground being covered in dead zombies. Another snaps back that yes, he has eyes. These three are the crew of a guy named Wang Bop. They found each other during the first hours of the descent, hid in a shop, and just now got the bright idea to sneak into a nearby underground supermarket for supplies. Except halfway there, they blundered into something big. And now they're running for their lives, hoping to God the guy standing in the sea of corpses will save them. Then the wall at the end of the street literally explodes inward, and out steps the thing they were running from, 3 meters tall, skin fully intact where a normal zombie is rotting, muscles bulging into the shape of a demonic strongman, arms as thick as Yuan's own thighs, a mutated zombie. Yuan's eyes light up. He triggers the Eye of Insight. It reads back, mutated zombie, combat rating 1-star early stage, carrying zombie aura yellow, super hearing yellow, and power enhancement yellow. Now that is a jackpot. In his last life, everyone whispered that special mutated zombies existed in early descents, but they were vanishingly rare. He never crossed one in his whole first run. And here, on day one just delivered itself to his doorstep, because he stood still long enough. The mutated zombie squints at Yuan. It clearly thought he was human at first, but a closer look tells its tiny brain that he's a zombie, which leaves it stuck on why every other zombie is dead, and this one alone is standing. Its brain is a 2-neuron party. It can't process the puzzle for more than a second. It roars at him. Between the roar and its stare, Yuan can basically read its meaning. Hey, little guy, stop those 3 snacks so I can eat. The little guy part is because next to a 3-meter monster, Yuan does look tiny. The 3 survivors screech to a stop beside Yuan. Wang Bop, front and center, wearing a floral shirt and jeans of all things, tells him to be careful, that the thing is very strong. Yuan spares them one flat glance and says one word, scram. Their eyes crawl over his weapons, submachine gun, pistol, taser on his hip. Then something shifts in Wang Bop's face. The shrewd, greedy look of a scammer sensing an opening. He doesn't leave. Instead, he politely asks whether Yuan might spare them one weapon. A taser. Just a taser. 4 fighting the monster together is safer for everyone, right? Notice what he's doing? He's not asking for the submachine gun or the pistol. Those are lethal, obvious asks. He's asking for the non-lethal one, the surely he wouldn't miss it one, sweetened with a promise to give it back the moment the fight's over. Sure, dude. Promises inside the killing space are worth exactly the punctuation on the end. Yuan doesn't waste breath. He decides to negotiate with a different method. He swings the gun toward the 3 of them and says exactly one word. Scram. One of the younger ones cannot help protesting that everyone here is just trying to survive, that sticking together is what keeps people alive, that a gunshot answers him mid-sentence. His head bursts. The other 2 freeze, sprayed with blood, drained white. Yuan swings the barrel to them. One of them tries to open his mouth. 2 more shots. Both drop. If they will not leave, they can stay. Simple math. Now, some of you in the comments are going to call that cold, and it is. But remember, in the last timeline, this exact type of scheming teamwork routine is how a lot of survivors got their throats cut in their sleep. Yuan didn't just execute 3 strangers. He removed 3 future problems. Type, code of the killing space, if that logic actually tracked for you. He turns his gaze back to the mutated zombie. Meanwhile, 4 floors up in a nearby building, 2 more men are watching this whole scene through binoculars. A guy named Huang Qi and his underling. Their faces are pale. The underling murmurs that this stranger is ruthless. His boss agrees. But then his eyes light up because he just watched Yuan drop 3 people and one very scary monster is still standing right there, and that stranger has serious weapons. Huang Qi's brain does the math. If they can just wait for the monster to soften Yuan up, then swoop in for the gear, back on the street, the mutated zombie is done being confused. Watching Yuan calmly execute the 3 snacks without eating any of them apparently reads as pure disrespect. If it can't be understood, it must be beaten. The zombie roars and charges, each footfall cracking the pavement, its whole body a battering ram of raw power. Yuan's brain runs the numbers instantly. Very strong. Solid defense, but dull, slow relative to its own strength, slightly faster than him at his current speed of 12. Solution, suppression fire, Buy space, save one grenade for the finish. He raises both submachine guns and hoses the thing down. Bullets tear into it as it charges. Every round rips more of it apart. But zombies are corpses at their core. As long as head and spine hold, they don't truly die. It crosses its arms over its skull, protects the important bits, and keeps advancing, only slowed to a fraction of its charge speed. Then click, left gun dry. Yuan tosses it, right gun still firing, and his left hand dives into his jacket. A card comes out, the grenade card. He doesn't hesitate. Yes, using it inside the space costs him a chunk of future killing value, but killing this thing means claiming its traits. And one power enhancement is worth way more than a stack of pearls. Pin out. Grenade launched. He turns and sprints. Boom. The blast rolls down the street like thunder. Dust wall. Yuan rides it out behind cover. When the dust thins, the aftermath resolves. A shallow crater in the road, half the mutated zombie's body simply not there anymore. Its remaining legs stripped to bone, its torso a mess of holes. Wounds that would have finished any living creature a dozen times over. But it's a zombie. It can bite with nothing left but a head, so it drags itself toward him on one arm, leaving a smear of blood behind. Yuan walks toward it, cold. He drops the second empty submachine gun, draws his backup pistol from his waist, kneels next to the thing that's still dragging itself forward, muzzle to skull. Bang. Prompt confirms. Mutated zombie killed. 100 killing value gained. There it is. Real money again. Up in the far building, Huang Qi drinks in the whole scene, and his eyes get greedy. Then something soured. A shame there was no scene of both sides bleeding each other out. His underling notes that Yuan doesn't even look injured and asks what they should do. Huang Qi narrows his eyes. Plan change. They follow him. Why follow? Because he burned through that much ammunition, he says. Which means Yuan has to resupply, and all they have to do is trail him and pick their moment. Meanwhile, back on the street, Yuan is claiming his prize. Zombie aura yellow. Already have it, upgrades him. Strength enhancement yellow, new. Super hearing he can't take, duplicate. So only 2 fold into him. But that strength enhancement? Oh, that lands. A torrent of vital energy erupts through his body. His muscle eats carve into hard definition. He was actually worried for a second that he'd balloon into a lumbering meathead like the zombie itself. But nope. The system tunes the boost to fit his existing frame. Just pure density, pure power. Bone and muscle upgraded from crown to soul. He checks his panel. Strength jumps from 10 to 33. 23 points from a single trait absorption. That single number carries him past the 30 threshold and into 1-star initial combat rating. Yuan actually pauses for a second because he needs to process this. Everyone else in this apocalypse gets stronger only when they exit the space. He gets stronger inside the space. And the method is simply kill. Kill more, get more. There's nobody in the world who can do that. Nobody. Then his zombie aura swells too. Not white anymore. Yellow. It now radiates the presence of a mutated zombie. Meaning common zombies don't just ignore him now. They actively steer clear. And he can command them with ease. Basically, he's been promoted from one of us to the boss. But wait, there's more. The mutated zombie also dropped something else. A white card, marked with a giant question mark. A lottery card, only ever dropped by mutated monsters. One free random pull from a pool of rare goodies. Special supplies, special equipment, rare treasures, even raw attribute points. Yuan rubs his hands together like a kid opening a mystery box on his birthday. He activates it. The card resolves into, hold your breath, a full set of special nanotech combat armor, constant temperature, constant pressure, self-cleaning, fireproof, waterproof, nearly indestructible. Can shapeshift its appearance at will. Actual nanotech armor, Yuan almost yells. In his last life, sets of this thing sold for astronomical sums. Only a handful ever surfaced across the entire war. He personally bled a fortune to get one back then, and here, one drops into his hands like it's a cereal prize. He doesn't even bother waiting for privacy. Strips off his clothes right there in the middle of the corpse street. Pulls on the nanotech armor. Shapes it into a sleek Special Forces combat suit. Boom. Overpowered fashion. Bulletproof, fireproof, waterproof, aesthetic proof. He does one more sweep. Nothing else worth taking. Time to head back to the armory and resupply. He doesn't know it yet, but two shadows are already following him at a distance. Huang Qi and his underling, sneaking after him like the world's worst spies. Yuan reaches the police compound minutes later, and his whole face falls. The courtyard gate is hanging wide open. Inside, the dozen or so zombies he pinned there are all dead on the ground. Someone raided his stash. He stomps once out of pure irritation and rushes inside. But hold on. Hidden behind a wide tree in the far corner of the courtyard, something is prodding one of the corpses. Something small. Something with pitch-black nails. It hears Yuan enter, and in the space of a blink, it vanishes from where it was and reappears at the base of the tree. What it finds is Yuan already vaulting inside the main building. It sniffs, registers the zombie aura on him, tilts its head. A flicker of thought crosses its eyes. It moves to give chase, then its head snaps sideways, because across the street, in a shop, two very stupid humans are peeking through a doorway, watching everything. Huang Qi and his underling. The underling is whispering that this must be where the kid got his weapons. Huang Qi nods. Should they charge? He asks. Charge with what? His boss snaps. Your life? Wait for the kid to leave. Then they raid. Then the underling spots a small zombie in the doorway across the street. A child zombie, wandering toward them. Huang Qi looks at it for 2 seconds and decides, hey, we can't take an adult zombie, but surely we can handle a zombie kid. Let's kill it while no other zombies are close. Confidence booster. They charge out of the shop, weapons raised. The child zombie is gone. Vanished. Just seconds after they saw it. There is no way it could have walked out of sight in that time. The underling stammers whether the place might be haunted. Huang Qi cracks him across the back of the head and snaps that the space rules literally state 1 monster type per descent, and here that's zombies. No ghosts allowed, thank you very much. Then Huang Qi feels a light poke. In his kidney. Again. He reaches back irritably to swat the underling away and grumbles to watch it. His weapon is jabbing him. The underling protests it's not him. His own weapon is up. Huang Qi grabs the thing behind him without looking. Cold, flat, long object. He's about to snap. If it's not you, then who is it holding? His body goes stiff. He turns his head, slowly. A mutated zombie stands there. Small, child-sized, curiously extending one long finger, its black nail clamped in his grip. Huang Qi screams a very unmanly scream and slams his baseball bat down on the thing's head with everything he has. The bat shatters. The mutated zombie just recoils, dazed. Run, he chokes, and bolts. By the time he is 2 meters clear, the underling finally remembers he owns legs and starts scrambling after him. The mutated zombie's curiosity dies instantly, replaced with pure murder. It roars, stomps once, and blurs into a black streak. Its 5 fingers spear out. The long nails drive into the underling's kidney like knives, and then withdraw, tearing free a bloody kidney and a wide sheet of skin. The underling shrieks, folds, twitches, silent. The mutated zombie lifts the kidney to its mouth, chews, swallows, licks its lips like it's still hungry, then, casually, reaches down and plucks the other kidney out of the man too. Chews, swallows. Huang Qi, meanwhile, is running with both hands clapped over his own kidneys, which is genuinely one of the funniest survival postures in history and also completely useless. He accidentally sprints straight into the police compound, slams a door behind him, throws the lock, and gasps for breath. Get inside. Find the guy with the gun. Live. He turns to take stock of the room. Dozens of eyes turn back to him. Zombies. The bureau is stuffed with zombies. He ran headlong into a nest. No, he babbles. Impossible. He literally watched the man walk in here. How can there be this many zombies still? The zombies erupt, swarm, and Huang Qi screams things nobody hears for very long. Yuan, meanwhile, has no idea any of this is happening. He's already inside the deeper hallway. His ammo's replenished, armory locked behind him. He walks out through the main hall and pauses, because a bunch of his guard zombies are thrashing in a chaotic mess in the entrance corridor. He stares. Zombie free-for-all. Why are they fighting each other? He glances at the door. Blocked. He scoffs coldly, tells them to knock it off, circle up, and behave. The frenzied motion stutters. The zombies trade blank looks and, actually obey. They scatter and go back to wandering their posts. The mangled body of one very unlucky Huang Qi lies on the floor. Yuan glances at it and lifts an eyebrow. Since when do zombies eat each other? Are they that hungry? He doesn't dwell. He kicks the corpse aside, hauls the door open, and steps out into the courtyard again, telling the boys to be good and guard the house, and if anyone gets hungry, to go find something to eat on their own. Bro just told a whole police station full of undead to feed themselves. Type Chef Zombie if that line got you. He walks toward the courtyard gate unhurried. The ammunition is heavy and welcome on his hip. Then his ears twitch. Super hearing catches something behind him. His head whips sideways just as a dark shape screams in. Before he can bring anything up, a hot spike of pain drives into his lower back. A serious force slams him 3 steps sideways. Old combat habit catches him. He plants his feet, rides the momentum, absorbs the push, and only then turns to look at the empty patch of ground where he'd been standing a heartbeat ago. A mutated zombie stands there, child-shaped, head tilted. Studying him, Yuan reaches back and touches the ache on his spine. The nanotech armor is whole, not so much as a scratch on it. He lets out a very quiet breath, because if he had still been wearing his old clothes, that swipe would have opened him up like paper, and an open wound isn't the real problem. The problem is the zombie virus riding on those pitch-black nails. Ever since the rebirth, every step has gone smooth, entries dropping into his lap. Somewhere along the way, he let his guard slack, and this little reminder just walked right through it. He triggers the Eye of Insight, reads it. Mutated zombie. Combat rating 1-star mid-stage. Carrying zombie aura yellow, super hearing yellow, and speed enhancement yellow. 1-star mid-stage. Speed past 40. This is the child from the courtyard, and it's carrying exactly the trait Yuan needs to complete his early build. The mutated zombie lunges again. Straight for his kidneys. Apparently this whole family has a very specific taste in organs. Yuan doesn't overthink. He raises his submachine gun and hoses the thing down, aiming low. Legs and head, no armor there. The child zombie has never encountered a firearm in its short life. It doesn't dodge at all. A storm of rounds chews into it, staggering its legs. Then it snaps out of it. Growls low. Blurs sideways behind a wide tree before he can finish it. Behind the trunk it's leaking black blood from a dozen holes. Chunk of neck torn away. One leg open to the bone. That should slow the speed build down hard. But the red glow in its eyes darkens. Killing intent sharpening. The gunfire keeps rolling. Yuan drifts his position, feeding rounds into the tree while he runs the fight in his head. This thing is fast. When it moves, he sees nothing but a black smear. Speed builds are genuinely the worst matchup for anyone without corresponding speed. Its one saving grace is the same as its dad's. Dull brain. Yuan quietly asks his kidneys to hold together a few more minutes. The zombie climbs, silently up the far side of the tree, reaches the crown. Cold eyes fixed, waiting for one specific thing, waiting for his guns to run dry. The moment Yuan's fire cuts out and a mechanical click replaces the gunfire, the zombie takes its opening, drops off the tree as an afterimage. In his face in a heartbeat. 5 fingers spread, reaching for his waist. Cold light crosses Yuan's eyes, because that empty click was theater. Only his left gun ran dry. His right hand just stopped squeezing to sell the lie. This entire trap was built for this exact instant. As the claws close on his waist, Yuan doesn't flinch away. He lets it grab, trusts the armor to eat the pain, and twists his right wrist so the barrel of the still-loaded gun swings up into the zombie's body point blank. Then he opens fire. Rounds pour through the child zombie at 0 range. Fast as it is, it reacts. Throws an arm over its head to save the important bit. Which means everything below the neck comes apart under the barrage. Then it flashes. Left side. Reads somehow that the gun on that side is empty. Springs up. Claws for his unguarded face. Yuan stays perfectly cold. Because in pure combat experience, this thing is a toddler, and he is a war veteran. He snaps the empty left gun up vertically to catch the claws. Lets the dead weapon in his right hand drop. And drives an uppercut straight into the child zombie's chin. 33 points of strength, his new number after the previous trait absorption, lands on that little jaw. Caves it upward into its own skull. The blow lifts the whole body into the air. While it hangs there weightless, Yuan pivots on his back foot and whips a spinning sidekick into the leg the zombie hadn't landed on yet. The joint folds backward with a wet crack. The force flings the entire body across the yard. "You're fast, huh? Let me take a leg and we'll see how fast you run." He doesn't chase, because it's still a zombie, and one lucky graze during a combo could pump the virus into him. The leg is broken. That's enough. The zombie slams down, tries to spring up out of pure reflex, drops flat, its broken leg refusing to launch. Yuan actually taunts it, tells it to go on, jump, go on, run, he'll wait right here. Then he calmly thumbs a fresh magazine into the right gun, levels it, puts a burst through the skull, prompt confirms. Mutated zombie killed, 100 killing value gained. A yellow orb drifts up off the corpse. Yuan walks over and touches it. Speed enhancement, yellow, acquired. A tingle runs down both his legs. The bone and muscle density that was already reinforced once tightens further. Raw power keeps welling up out of them. Panel refresh. Strength, 33. Constitution, 15. Speed jumps to 40. Spirit, 20. Combat rating pushes to 1 star mid-stage. He now moves at a speed no ordinary human could ever match. And then there's the lottery card, sitting on the ground beside the corpse. Another mystery box. He picks it up, uses it. The draw resolves into a single awakening potion. Yuan stares. Because an awakening potion is a mature, stable, side effect-free formula that gives a high chance of activating a person's innate ability. It costs 300 killing value in the Space Mall. He had literally been planning to buy one at settlement. Never in a million years did he expect a mutated zombie to just cough one up onto the pavement. Speak of a thing and it appears. Nothing else matters right now. He drops the whole idea of continuing his kill run and speed walks back into the police station. Locks the armory door behind him. Confirms the room is safe. Pops the vial. Chugs it. Heat blooms out from his core and races through him. His body temperature spikes. If you'd put a thermometer on him, the reading would have jumped 10 degrees in one blink. The fire comes hard and leaves hard, gone in under 5 minutes. Then the confirmations roll in. Innate ability awakened. Acquired. Dimensional space. Starting size 1 cubic meter. Independent storage for non-living things. The system detects the awakening, converts the new ability into a trait, and stamps it. Dimensional space. White grade. And with it, finally, the permission to upgrade traits unlocks. 1 upgrade point refreshes daily. Points bank. Now this is what he's been waiting for. Dimensional space has no offensive bite on its own. In fact, by itself it's kind of a meme power. But in this world, it is the single most useful gift a person can awaken. Because anything he stuffs in that pocket dimension passes the killing space's inspection completely. Meaning from this moment forward, Yuan never has to worry about food or water again. While every other survivor claws at each other over a bottle of mineral water, he can pour every scrap of attention into killing. And it grows. Every 10 points of spirit lets him push the space larger by 1 cubic meter. Plus he can force it up with upgrade points. He wonders briefly if an upgraded space might one day hold living things. Sets the question aside. First priority, expand. Spirit 20. That's enough to double the room. He sits down where he is, closes his eyes, and focuses on the tiny pocket of nothing hovering in his mind. He floods it with spiritual power, pushes outward from the inside. The walls give, slow and grudging, until a 2 cubic meter room stands where the one used to be. Done. With a single thought, he sends the submachine gun in his hand, poof, into the pocket. He looks around the armory. He has zero more use for the place, so he gets up and works. Magazines loaded, rounds seated. Every stick fed into the space one by one. From this moment on, whenever he needs a fresh mag, he can pull it out of thin air. While he tidies, he opens the chat channel. It's absolutely popping now. Most survivors have found their footing and started gossiping. Everyone comparing starting stats, complaining nothing drops for them, debating whether every kill drops a card. And a growing buzz. Someone dumped a whole bundle of police gear on the trading platform. Yuan almost laughs. His listings from earlier already sold themselves. Free market victory. But he's not satisfied. He wants to kill faster. Fire, freezing, corrosive spray, a mobile furnace. Ideas rise. He shoots them all down. Each is either too weak to reliably finish a zombie, or consumes too fast, or gut his card drops. He mutters to himself, what he really wants is an assembly line. Zombies in one end, cards out the other. And the moment those words leave his mouth, he stops dead. A shredder. A big industrial shredder. A zombie jumps in. 2 seconds later, out comes minced meat and sometimes a card. He just needs to stand at the discharge end and gather. Do the numbers. One zombie every 5 seconds is 12 a minute. 720 an hour. A large shredder can swallow 3 to 5 at once, which pushes it toward 2,000 to 3,000 kills an hour. No effort, no fatigue, no ammunition burn. Anyone else would still be stuck on the hard part. How do you make zombies actually climb in on their own? But Yuan doesn't have that problem, because his yellow zombie aura lets him command the ordinary dead like sheep. This method might have been designed specifically for him. And shredders? Easy to find. Car scrapyards, gravel pits, municipal waste plants. Every city has them. Time is killing value. Time is cards. He grabs his loaded gear, fires up his navigation, goes. Half an hour later, he's standing in a sprawling car scrapyard, staring up at the machine in front of him, and he cannot stop grinning. Because it's not just a shredder, it's a monster, a 44-ton beast literally called the Red Giant, still bolted onto the back of a 100-ton King Heavy hauler. There's a single zombie shut inside the truck's cab, pacing in confused circles, unable to figure out how door handles work. By the look of it, the Red Giant was either just delivered or just about to be shipped out, which suits him perfectly. Only a handful of zombies wander the scrapyard because the yard's far from any residential area, which caps how many he can lure locally. Solution: bring the machine to them. He hauls the cab door open and climbs in. His yellow zombie aura melts the driver zombie into obedience. He literally shoves it out the door. It shuffles off without protest. Truck coughs to life, rolls out of the yard, points itself at the crowded heart of the city. 10 minutes and a lot of casually crushed cars later, he pulls it to a stop in a dense district. The horde that has been chasing his engine noise stops with him. Dozens of zombies, expecting a meal, finding instead one of their own driving a bulldozer. They stand there dumbfounded, little brains grinding. Yuan grins. The show is about to start. He fires up half a dozen huge speakers he's rigged to the roof of the cab and blasts loud, cheerful dance music into the night. The kind of thumping plaza tune old aunties dance to in the park. Every zombie in earshot freezes, turns its head, shuffles toward the sound. At the source, Yuan stands with a loudspeaker. Aura on. Voice loud. Get in a line. Everyone. Straight line. You there. Missing an eye. Don't think you're special. Fall in with the rest. You there. Legless one. Dragging too slow. Step aside. You're holding up the queue. Newcomers. Back of the line. No cutting. One by one, crushed by an aura higher than theirs, they obey. They file forward in dead silence like the world's most polite corpse queue. At the head of the line waits a raised steel ramp. At the top of the ramp, the Red Giant's intake. The zombies climb. And jump, one after another. A burst of blood erupts before each one is spat out as ground meat onto a conveyor that dumps into the sewer. Yuan stands a couple meters off the discharge, loudspeaker in hand, watching for cards and dressing the line. The whole thing costs him nothing. Tires him not at all. Every so often a card floats up out of the pulp. Down in the chat channel, the world loses its mind. Someone insists they can hear plaza dance music echoing across the city. Someone else swears they saw zombies actually queuing up to jump into a shredder. Everyone else calls him a liar. Zombies killing themselves is one thing, but queuing politely is a step too far to believe. Yuan just lets them argue. Time doesn't stop for gossip. Whenever the zombies in one district thin out, he picks up and drives to the next. Restarts the concert. Restarts the buffet. Type corpse queue in the comments if this whole method genuinely broke your brain, because this is arguably the most efficient monster farming method ever invented, and it's happening in the very first descent. Hour after hour he grinds, doesn't sleep, doesn't rest, because a reborn man is not going to waste a single minute. Then a chime lands in his head. Upgrade points refreshed. Still guiding the line, he eagerly pulls up his panel. Every trait has a small upgrade mark now. The system spells the cost. 1 point to lift white to yellow, 2 for yellow to blue, 4 for blue to purple, 8 for purple to red, 16 for red to gold. Which means a full white to gold journey costs 31 points. At 1 a day, a full month per trait. Painful but doable, he spends today's point and lifts dimensional space from white to yellow. The space becomes a 10 cubic meter room, and a new sheet of detail unfolds in his mind. The real change is in how it opens. Before, only things he physically touched could go in. Now, anything within a meter of him answers a thought. No contact needed. Do not shrug at that gap, because if a man shoots at him, the old Yuan could only dodge. The new Yuan can set the space's mouth hovering a meter in front of his chest. Any bullet crossing that line gets swallowed, and then he can turn the exit to face the shooter and let his own bullets fly back out at him. A pure engine of return damage. If he'd had this last life, how would Jotay and the others have ever boxed him in? How would they have cut him down? But that's a worry for later. Right now, the slaughter rolls on. Deep in the night, as Yuan drifts district to district, more and more survivors catch sight of him, and the chat channel royally loses it. They watch zombies file to their own deaths. They watch him at the center of it, showing not the least sign of being a zombie himself. After a heated round of arguing, one story hardens and spreads through the network like fire. There is a corpse king, human face, commands the dead, feeds on people, strength unknown but monstrous. Someone reportedly saw him punch a common zombie's head clean off its shoulders in plain view. Warning to all survivors: if you see him, hide. Yuan sees every word of it and doesn't correct anything. In fact, he actually smashed one zombie skull apart on purpose earlier, just so the story would carry the exact right amount of dread. And by the reactions in chat, the dread has landed. Now no idiot will jump out convinced they can solo him. They'll all give him a wide berth. Free path. Type Corpse King if you'd give him a wide berth too, because at this point, he might as well have been born to be misunderstood. Then, on a dim street across the city, a very different scene unfolds. Dozens of zombies drift with no purpose. The silence so total that a soda can skittering in the wind pulls a whole cluster of heads. Then, from the mouth of a pitch-black alley, a series of faint sparks stutters out. Suppressed weapons. Dozens of zombies drop across the street in seconds. 5 figures file out. Camouflage, tactical vests, night vision on their brows. Every piece of gear identical to what Yuan pulled from the armory. Because this crew tapped a station of their own. The leader signs with his hand. 4 teammates fan out. Finish twitchers, sweep for cards. One reports the street is clear and hands over the loot. 2 cards, a plate of spicy shredded chicken and a slice of bread. Their captain frowns, pockets both, then sweeps the dark and tells the team to reload and prep for the next street. Kill all they can while the dark blinds the zombies. His name is Joe Bin. Remember that name, because in the outside world, once this space closes, this guy is going to become the director of the entire government bureau built to hunt survivors like Yuan. But not tonight. Tonight, he's just a very disciplined captain leading a very disciplined team. Ex-military. Sharp eyes. Sharper survival instinct. 2 streets over, they push onto a lane where the lights are dead altogether. An eerie black tunnel. Joe Bin at point stops short as a soft ringing lifts from the shops on either side. He looks down. Grim. A fishing line strung taut across the entire street at his feet. Its ends anchored inside storefronts. A tripwire, man-made. Then he lifts his eyes, and a meter past the line, scattered thick across the road in the faint light. He makes out thumbtacks, iron nails, and broken glass sewn so densely they carpet the asphalt. All of it laid by human hands. One of the team murmurs low that there are people in the shop at 10 o'clock. Joe Bin looks, and through the night vision, his pupils cinch tight, because he recognizes the shape in a stranger's hands. A gun. These people are armed. He decides on the instant. Make no sudden moves. Back off slow, leads the team out, because this is clearly someone's turf, and with no clash of interest, there's no reason to touch it. Inside the shop, 4 men in tactical vests watch them go. Same gear as Joe Bin's team, same submachine guns. The only real difference is the bearing. Where Joe Bin's men carry the clean stamp of soldiers, these 4 wear the same gear like a pack of layabouts playing dress-up. The tall, mean-faced one with a tactical vest, Brother Yuan, spits and says that since Joe Bin's team retreated, they weren't zombies. Their nail and tripwire trick worked exactly as planned. Sharp thinking from a guy named Pockmark, who set the trap. Pockmark gives a sheepish reply that he only saw it on TV once and never thought it would actually work. Brother Yuan claps him on the shoulder and says his gang, the Azure Dragon Society, needs talent like that. Then the dance music comes rolling in. Louder, closer. Someone in the gang snaps that this is insane, that blasting dance music this loud in the dead of night is asking to get eaten. Another catches his breath, asks if it could be the Music Corpse King from the chat rumors. Brother Yuan's eyes light up. He tells the crew to ready up, because the prey is walking straight to them. Whoever helps bring the Corpse King down will get 10,000 cards apiece once they get out. The others call him mighty and start loading up. Meanwhile, out on the road, Yuan's truck grinds along with its music howling. A tail of hundreds of zombies stretched out behind him, held back only because the rig moves so slowly. He's humming along at the wheel through the dark streets when, bang, bang, both front tires blow. The wheel wrenches out of true. The truck slews toward a storefront. Yuan stamps the brakes and drags it to a halt one breath short of the glass. He climbs down. His face is thunder. Glass-gritted nails crunch under his soles. He looks. The whole road is sown with the stuff, both front tires already flat and bristling with dozens of nails driven deep. Which brainless coward did this? Salting a public street with nails. No sense of civic decency. No thought at all for the sanitation crews who break their backs sweeping these roads. Real complaint. In the middle of an apocalypse. Type civic sense if that little rant made you snort. 100 meters off, up on the 10th floor of a building, Joe Bin's team has doubled back and gone to ground. They ducked into cover the moment the music reached them. Now they watch the street through scopes, legible enough via night vision. Joe Bin turns to a refined-looking man beside him, Old Janang, and asks if the figure below is the Corpse King everyone keeps naming. Old Janang answers that anyone making a racket this size ought to be. A slab of muscle on the team can't hold it in. Urges the captain to snipe the Corpse King now. Snatch him before the ordinary zombies close in. Insist that by years of gaming logic, a boss like this is guaranteed to drop something good. Old Janang cuts in first, advises against it. His night sniping barely clears a 60% kill chance. 60 is basically suicide. If the opening strike misses, the backlash comes fast. Also, the armed crew below is closer to the Corpse King. 90% chance they get dragged into a firefight with those men if the shot lands. 50% chance somebody bleeds. The muscular man grumbles that he asked the captain, not Old Janang, and looks pleadingly at Joe Bin. Joe Bin's face darkens. After a moment, he says, "Wait, watch." Down on the street, Yuan has killed the music. His eyes rake the dark like a pair of torches. His ears twitch and twitch again. Super hearing combing the black for whoever did this. A heartbeat later, he fixes on one shopfront, the exact one hiding Brother Hian and his 4 men. The moment his gaze lands, a furious roar breaks from inside. Kill him. Shoot him. 10,000 cards for the man who does it. Sparks flare inside the dark shop. Submachine gun fire rips across the night straight at him. Yuan's step halts. His face goes cold. Because these people have guns, and they think he's soft. The dimensional space yawns open in the air right in front of him. Silent. Invisible in the dark. Its mouth just hanging there. A floating meter-wide hole nobody in that shop can see. And as the rounds cross into that meter around his chest, they warp and vanish. Every single bullet just gone. Swallowed whole. No spark, no ricochet, no bounce. The air around Yuan is completely calm. Under the cover of night, not a soul sees the trick. Up on the 10th floor, the muscular guy mutters to himself. Told you so. Less talk, more doing. Those men down there already made their move, and the Corpse King is just standing there like a statue. And no power on earth keeps a body upright under that many bullets. He's already dreaming aloud about how many drops this kill is going to be worth. Old Janang finally snaps at him, tells him to shut it, tells him he's a grown man and cannot understand why he never stops talking. Then he keeps his eyes nailed to the motionless figure below, and the tone of his voice drops. Because look at the Corpse King, he says. He's showing no reaction. Zero. Normally a body takes rounds and answers on reflex. Folding, flinching, staggering. None of it's something a living thing can suppress. Yet this thing down there just stands. Worse. The posture isn't just still. Old Janang swears there's a strange ease radiating off it. The muscular guy scoffs. Ease. Right. A man facing 100 bullets has no business looking relaxed. Old Janang doesn't look up. He's watched a long while now, and the wall of the building behind the Corpse King has taken 0 damage. 0. He asks the team what that means, then answers himself before anyone can. Some kind of unknown power is making the bullets vanish. The muscular guy boggles. Superpowers? Real ones? Old Janang grins bitterly and says, "The killing space is here. The zombies are here. The attribute panels are real. So is a superpower really the outrageous part? Look at the talent line on the panel. That's exactly where a power like this would live. The muscular guy falls silent, because there's nothing to argue against, and a cold thought crawls up his spine, that maybe he could awaken one of his own someday. On the street, the gunfire runs past 10 seconds and dies. Inside the shop, the four gangsters have burned through every magazine and stare at Yuan, unmoved in his place. One of them asks Brother Hian if the Corpse King isn't dead, and if so, why is he still standing? Brother Hian says he's dead for certain. After that many rounds, dozens of hits, easy. As for why he's still standing, who's he supposed to ask? Maybe it's the Corpse King's last shred of pride. Then he tells one of the boys to go outside and check. The guy protests, meaning him? Really? Him? Brother Hian snaps that yes, of course him. Who else? The subordinate drags himself reluctantly to the door. The moment his foot clears the doorway, his head bursts apart in front of him, sprays the other three. The three inside look up, and what they see is a stream of golden rounds so close there is no time left to move, because Yuan flipped the exit. Every bullet they fired into him, he just sent it back. The three are stitched through like a sewing machine in the space of a breath. 4 man-shaped patterns of bullet holes get punched into the wall behind them. Their last thought, all 3 of them at the same instant, is the same. Where were the gunshots? Where did these bullets come from? And why do they look so damnably familiar? On the street, Yuan's ears twitch. He listens. Nothing moves inside. He lifts his foot and walks in. A minute later, he comes back out with 3 cards in hand, grumbling, sour about it. 3 cards for a whole crew. A miserable haul. Yes, that is his complaint after killing 4 armed men with their own bullets. 3 cards is not enough. Type greedy king if that reaction cracked you. He swings up into the ruined truck, starts the music again. Soon, more zombies come hopping in from the far end of the street. A big, fresh wave. He simply drives off on flat tires, dragging the entire concert with him. Tires or no tires, doesn't matter. Wasn't his truck to begin with. Just needs to hold together until noon. Several minutes after he clears out, Joe Bin's team comes down onto the street and steps into the shop. The sight inside pulls sweat from every brow. None more than the muscular guy, who thanks his luck over and over that he was talked into staying put. Otherwise, he'd be one of the bodies on that floor. He asks the captain what they do now. Joe Bin doesn't hesitate. Take the opposite road. The Corpse King is more than they can handle. Stay as far from him as the city allows, and that right there, that is Joe Bin's saving grace. He's the only man on the field with enough sense to walk away from something he can't beat. Yuan's killing rolls on. Through the whole long night, no accident finds him. No fool jumps out convinced he can solo the Corpse King. Because for one day only, why would anyone gamble their life? Even the confident ones stay hidden. The slaughter carries clear through to daylight, and even then, he only stops with half an hour left on the timer, not by choice, because his big machine finally goes on strike. He looks up at the red giant. It's belching smoke, smells burnt. He can't help complaining. So much for an imported monster. Home-built gear is the only thing you can trust. Not enough time left to find a new hunting ground, so he ducks into a clean building, sits down, and tallies the take. Killing value, 19,600. Not more. Mostly because relocating the herd between spots ate real time, and because the rising combat rating shaves down the payout per kill. Still, absolutely acceptable. At his old pace, forget ammo cost, even chasing this result at all would have been a fantasy. And the cards. 229 cards, every kind. 152 from the zombies, 3 from the 4 ambushers, and the rest, pure trading fees. The trading channel lets you list for free, but skims 1 killing value per completed sale, which means a man with no killing value cannot trade at all. 74 killing value for 74 cards, each of which redeems for 100 on exit. That is one of the finest returns on a small stake that exists anywhere. With 200 plus cards banked, he'll walk out with another 20,000 plus killing value on top, which pushes this one run's total to around 40,000. Bro, cleaned up. The feeling of milking an info gap that wide is a whole flavor on its own. He sits contented in his pile of cards and sorts them, because, thanks to the dimensional space, things others can never carry out, he can. 15 minutes later, he's filtered out the ones that matter to him. 1 amphibious motorcycle card, 1 perpetual solar car card, 2 special helmets, 4 cards. Every one of them a nightmare to source in the real world. He materializes each one right there. Because cards only ever solidify inside the killing space, not in reality. Turning them real in here, ready to hand at any moment, that is the only sensible play. A play his fresh space upgrade finally makes possible. Because before this, he wouldn't have dreamed of hauling something as bulky as a car. Then the world blurs. Space announces the run has ended and he's returning. When his senses settle, he's standing in a white void. A row of golden characters hanging in the air ahead. The rating settlement is underway. Survive, earn base D rank. Over 100 monsters killed. Lifts to C rank. Over 1,000, B rank. Over 10,000, A rank. Hold more than 100 material cards. Lifts to S rank. Kill 2 mutated monsters above your own level. Lifts to SS rank. Final rating, SS rank. The verdict lands, and the entire void ignites gold. A translucent golden curtain descends. Not just over him, over every survivor's settlement space at once. A vast voice rolls through all of their ears. Congratulations to the survivor who reached SS rank evaluation. Condition met. Rating leaderboard is now open. A golden board unfurls out of the light. 3 great words at its crown swim into view. Rating leaderboard. First place, Yuan. SS rank. Second place, some guy at C rank. Third, another C rank. Fourth, Joe Bin, C rank. The entire top of the board is basically Yuan, and then a huge visible gap, and then everyone else clustered at C. The instant the board appears, the settlement spaces of 100,000 survivors erupt. Chat channel drowns in it. A storm of survivors crying cheat at the top name. Newbies begging the great ones for the secret to a C rank. Sharp ones already reverse engineering the kill thresholds and reward tiers from the data leaking out. Everyone, whatever rank they drew, unable to resist showing off. His SS rank reward reads out. Every attribute up by 6. 15 free attribute points. 1,500 killing value. Yuan almost laughs out loud. Because in his last life, the announced A rank reward was every attribute up by 4 free points, and 400 killing value. His SS reward stacks a full 19 points higher and quadruples the killing value. No wonder those old S-rank monsters pulled away faster and faster the deeper the timeline ran. This is the reason. This is the gap he was born on the wrong side of last time. The system flags his 225 leftover cards and converts them straight into 22,500 killing value. His 4 already materialized items stay with him, which puts his balance at 43,600. And then the killing mall opens. A golden interface blooms in front of him. Categories: skill, equipment, attribute, medical, special. Yuan goes straight to attribute, because everything else is a crutch. Attributes are the bedrock that sets a person's real strength. The list is the plainest of all. Strength, constitution, speed, or spirit. Each plus 10 for 100 killing value. With one thought, he buys all 400 killing value. He still remembers the first time he ever bought stats. Standing there eyeing them with envy. Agonizing over the one stat he could afford. Terrified of wasting a point. Now, he clears the whole rack and barely dents his pile. The list refreshes. Same 4 stats. 10 times the price. 1,000 each. Space rule. Repeats scale up tenfold per descent. Fine. He buys all 4 again. 4,000. Next refresh. 10,000 each. This time he stops and thinks. Then buys only constitution and spirit. Strength and speed are already high thanks to his plundered traits. 20,000 killing value spent. Next tier. 100,000 each. He gives up there. Panel refresh. Strength 59. Constitution 51. Speed 66. Spirit 56. Combat rating pushes to 2-star early stage. Type 2-star if you just felt that jump. Now, the first 2-star evolver that ever surfaced in his last life didn't show up until after the 3rd or 4th descent. And here he stands, hitting 2-star off the back of Descent 1. Nobody else in this entire apocalypse can say the same. Nobody. He leaves his 15 free attribute points banked, doesn't spend them, saves them for a crisis he can spend his way out of on the spot. Remember earlier when the speed zombie boxed him in? 15 fresh points into speed at that exact moment would have spared him a fight that risked his life. Now he'll always have that reserve. Next, the rest of the killing value. Because by memory, the next space brings out proper Jiangxi. Chinese hopping vampires. copper skin, iron bones type creatures, and a peachwood sword just doesn't cut it. Literally. He buys the tools. A laser combat blade, Infinite Edition. The blade reaches 1,000 degrees, no charging required, cuts through anything short of an actual ghost. 5,000 killing value. A Desert Eagle, modded, endless armor-piercing rounds. 5,000. A personal Vulcan Gatling gun, modded, 6,000 rounds per minute, endless armor-piercing ammo. 5,000. Firearm Mastery, Master Level, 2,000. Blade Mastery, Master Level, 2,000. 2 vials of Manhwa Ling blood, a rare seasoning made from blood essence. Mix into water. Draws every blood eater within a 10-kilometer radius straight to you. 200 each. Pause and appreciate this build for a second. An infinite laser blade that cuts anything. A Vulcan Gatling with unlimited armor-piercing bullets at 6,000 rounds per minute. 2 masteries so he doesn't waste a shot. And zombie bait that pulls the entire district's dead onto his position. Bro basically built a mobile execution factory. Killing value drained to 0. He steps out of the settlement space. Blink. He's home again. Bedroom window. High moon in the small hours of the morning. The second night now. A full day gone since he stepped in. Cracked stones and drained energy pearls still on the table. As if nothing on earth changed. Only boundless power surging through him from within. First thing he does? Goes out for skewers. Because a whole day gnawing dry bread mid-slaughter left his mouth so flat he could spit feathers. Across the world, countless survivors pour back into reality. And inside 10 minutes, they've seized every platform there is. Message boards, forums, short video apps, buried under an avalanche of first-hand accounts from inside the space. Quick-witted ones are already live streaming to fan counts that climb like something is on fire. The whole returning tide rewriting what everyone thought they knew about the world. Tonight is going to be a sleepless one for the entire nation. Inside a military base, a man stands at a podium delivering his report, and that man is Joe Bin. He finishes the situation report on the killing space. A strange silence settles over the whole chamber. After a moment, the lean, square-jawed man at the head of the table tells him, "Well done. Go on." Joe Bin gathers himself. His preliminary read is that rewards track with ratings, and ratings track with kills. In the operation, his team dropped over 900 zombies. Under deliberate testing, he personally accounted for over 600, while the other 4 each took between 50 and 150. He drew a C rank. 4th on the leaderboard. The others in the room lean forward. Rewards confirmed to run D through SS. 90% probability and SSS exists above. D rank asks only survival. Pays every attribute up by 1. 1 free point and 100 killing value. C rank comes from a single person killing 100 zombies. Everything under D and C is inference. B rank at 86% probability needs 1,000 kills from 1 person. A rank follows the curve. SS cannot be reliably inferred for lack of data, because only 1 person got it. Then Joe Bin adds, he traded killing value for constitution and speed, both now twice an ordinary man's, with no side effect, and the rest of his balance went into one thing. He lifts a briefcase onto the table, opens it. A single vial sits inside. He tells the room it's an awakening potion. 300 killing value in the space mall. Drinking it activates an innate ability. He bought 2, drank 1, and woke the power to command lightning. He turns his hand over. Several thin bolts crackle up in his palm, gather into a slow-turning ball of lightning. Blue, beautiful, steeped in menace. The high officials in that room look at the sphere without a flicker of surprise. Only a deep and growing worry. Because if a thing like this ever slips its leash, the whole nation's social order could come apart. The meeting runs until dawn. The report is dressed into a formal analysis and passed up the chain. Inside 10 minutes it lies before the highest leader. Half an hour later, a special department stands up under the name Bureau 816. Keyed to its founding date, the 16th of August. Joe Bin named its director. Its charge: find and recruit the talents rising out of the space. Smother the disturbances that evolvers will stir up across the land. The first thing Joe Bin does in office is sift every survivor of that descent through military big data. Because anything a person said online, a call, a post in any circle, leaves a trace that no screening can miss. Live in the age of information, and while it widens your world, it quietly takes something back. Somewhere in that data is a very specific young man named Yuan, but Joe Bin doesn't know that yet. The next dawn breaks. The roar around the killing space swells louder. Every platform's top 30 trending topics running space content and nothing else. Because the lucky few who awakened abilities are showing them off everywhere. One guy grills chicken wings over flames sprung from his own hand. One conjures ice cubes out of thin air to chill his coffee. One sprouted a pair of wings and used them, of all things, to deliver takeout. Another tried to rob a bank with Earth Escape, tunneled through the ground. Was too green at it and surfaced inside a nearby police station. When the poor fool climbed out into a room full of uniformed officers, he looked utterly done for. Type delivery wings or bank robber failure. Because these are the actual awakened power reveals of the population, and it's already turning into a comedy show. Still, the powers set the public's blood alight. Everyone hungry now for the next descent. Everyone praying to be chosen. At home, Yuan sits watching the news. He fired his boss the second day out of the space. Because what era is this to still be clocking in? Could a paycheck outweigh getting stronger? If he wanted, he could walk into the military right now and be treated as someone precious. But he has no appetite for dealing with them yet. The military is hardly one solid body. More than a few of its senior officers wear the nation's uniform, while their hearts serve another master entirely. Until he holds strength enough to guarantee his own safety, he isn't putting himself on display. Bored, he flips the channel. A fair-skinned, long-legged woman appears on screen running a street interview, asking a passerby the one topic burning in every mouth. If he had the chance, would he step into the killing space? The man says no. She presses. Doesn't he want a power? Doesn't he want to be a superhero? The man says going in offers real opportunity. Sure, but people die in there. He already has money and standing. Why gamble? A pair of wings hardly makes a superhero when the man is still out delivering takeout. And in this world there are no monsters, only money, which is all-powerful, and which, as it happens, he has plenty of. Yuan watches the interview with cold eyes. Who told you there are no monsters in this world? By his count, that thing should be surfacing right about now. He pulls out his phone, searches. And there it is, strange news breaking. A poisonous mist has rolled over regions across the country, dropping many into unconsciousness. Though no deaths reported yet, the mist holding stubborn, witnesses swearing they can just make out human figures moving inside it. The relevant departments are still hunting its source. The official words sealing off every mist-covered zone, warning people to keep well away until it lifts. Every report points at the same thing. The real world is coming apart at the seams. Ordinary eyes read it as an oddity in the headlines. Yuan reads it as monsters about to descend. The real world is no longer safe. And the monsters born in the killing space are going to come down into it, one at a time. This poisonous mist is the herald. Research in his last life pinned the mist as a byproduct of the instability between the two spaces. Once the two settle against each other, the mist thins out. And that is when the zombies walk. As for how long it lingers, it holds until the second space descent finishes, and the next mist will hold until the third space ends, and so on down the line. More monsters bleeding into reality every cycle. Human ground shrinking under them without pause. There is a gift buried in it, though. Danger and chance in the same hand. Killing a monster in the real world grants no killing value and drops no card. But it can yield something else. An evolution crystal. A six-sided red stone that forms in the skull of certain monsters, holding raw evolution power. A human can absorb it to raise attributes and wake abilities. The catch: the crystals drop rarely and absorb poorly, so evolving this way crawls compared to the space. For zombies, 10 to 20 crystals a day is the average body's ceiling, which means most people who don't get chosen by the space are still not doomed. They can grind crystals in reality. Slower, harder, but real. In his last life, the ones the space never chose leaned on this road entirely, and some even used it to climb into evolver ranks the hard way, because however small a mosquito, it is still a scrap of meat. Given the chance, he'd take a turn at it himself, though his quarry wouldn't be common zombies, only mutated ones. 10 days. Looks like a long stretch, passes like a single breath. He finishes every preparation, waits quiet for the second space to open, leaves the upgrade points he's banked across the days untouched, holding them to spend as the moment demands. Countdown strikes 0. A line of golden text projects out of the space imprint. Second killing space is open. Enter. Old survivors get the choice now, and they fall outside the fresh 100,000 count, meaning far more people than 100,000 pour into this opening, and the crowd will only grow with every cycle. Yuan decided long ago. Enter. Flash of gold. He's gone. Welcome to the killing space. The rules scroll past. The first, to survive. The 10th, the space stays open 2 days. Monsters descend in 5 minutes. Same as before. But the survival window is longer. Prep time is shorter. Difficulty climbing. He ignores the prompt, and in the pitch dark around him, a beam suddenly flares. A flashlight he pulled from who knows where. Because he never actually reaches for it. Because the dimensional space just hands it to him. He sweeps the beam across the room. The place runs about 100 square meters. One wall lined with rows of memorial tablets, furred in cobwebs and dust, long abandoned, and dead center, sits an ancient coffin, lid shut tight, old paper effigies heaped around its base. He takes a long look, walks closer, slides the lid open with a flat strike of his palm. A pale, serene face rises into the light. A corpse, not yet turned. So the monsters really are Jiangshi, Chinese hopping zombies. He remembered right. He checks the room over. Just the one coffin. Steps out the door. Beyond it, a small courtyard resolves under the moonlight, choked with weeds. Missing its gate, untended for years. His beam runs bright across it, out through the archway, and hints at a mountain forest past the walls. The whole place is silent under a drifting mist. It lends the whole area a cold, creeping menace. He circles the courtyard and pieces the situation together. A secluded clan hall ringed by wild mountains. The coffin probably placed here by nearby villagers, set aside to wait. 4 minutes of searching turns up not a single living person. He comes back to the hall right on time, looks at the quiet coffin, rolls his wrist. A black hilt appears in his hand. The next second, a red blade of light springs from it. Laser sword, infinite edition, 1000 degrees. The instant he finishes, several lines of text hang in the void, announcing the monsters are descending, and laying out the first day's mission. Defend the clan hall. Hold out inside until dawn. Missions have begun. First space had none. A beginner's kindness. From the second descent onward, the space starts handing out daily missions. Each survivor's is different. Some to kill. Some to reach a place. Some to find an object. His, hold until dawn. By memory, dawn is 6 or 8 hours out. Too long ago to pin exactly. Doesn't matter. He's skilled enough and steady enough to hold 10. Then, bang. A heavy sound splits the quiet. The coffin lid flies up and crashes back to the floor. A figure stands bolt upright inside, in defiance of every joint a body owns. Ah, the zombie has come. A golden light flares in his eyes. Eye of insight sweeps it. Common Jiangshi. Combat rating 1-star initial stage. Carrying 4 plunderable traits. Zombie body white. Bloodthirsty recovery blue. Blood tracking yellow. Olfactory perception yellow. A legendary creature with a whole string of loot pre-installed. Bro, this is not Descent 2. This is Descent Free Samples Day. The Jiangshi throws its head back and lets out a low, grinding growl. 2 ribbons of gray vapor curling from its nostrils. For one heartbeat, it actually looks imposing. A picture of the dead clawing back into the world. Then a red line of light crosses it at the waist. The return from the dead pose ends with the top half of the Jiangshi sliding off the bottom. Yuan flicks the laser sword clean and mutters that it should learn some manners. Screaming its lungs out in the dead of night. Disturbing the peace like that? Type peace disturber if that cold-cut kill actually made you cackle, because the build-up versus the payoff on that swing was unfair. Prompt confirms the kill, 1 killing value, and unlocks the platforms and traits reset for this cycle. Only 1 killing value, though. He lets a tired look cross his face. A common Jiangshi should pay 2, and his came halved for the crime of already standing at 2-star combat rating. Whoever complained about being too strong. If the payout shrinks, he kills more. Besides, killing value was never his only road. He turns to the knot of light orbs pooled beside the corpse. The dropped traits. Rubs his hands together, reaches in. Bloodthirsty recovery, blue, acquired. Blood tracking, yellow, acquired. Olfactory perception, yellow, acquired. Bloodthirsty recovery triples his healing on its own, and multiplies it tenfold once he's swallowed blood. Blood tracking lets him follow any creature by the scent of its blood. Olfactory perception lets him feel out living people by smell and read their movements. The one trait he leaves is zombie body, because it wrecks your face. It has monstrous growth ceiling, sure, but staples restrictions on you and turns you into a rotting corpse permanently. Cheap version. Even a stray dog wouldn't want it. If it were the legendary Undead Lord version with a human face, he'd swallow his pride. But no. Pass. The three traits settle into him at once. A flush of heat, an itch high in his nose, and knowledge of how to wield each pours ready-made into his head. Of the three, olfactory perception is the one that catches him off guard. Lock it onto a living thing, and his mind builds a little model of it, so even with eyes shut he knows exactly where it stands and what it's doing. Genuinely uncanny. Flaw, only bites on things that breathe. Target holds their breath, they drop off his radar. Which is exactly the classic trick that lets someone lie dead still and let a zombie shuffle past. But upgraded, he wonders if it could fill a whole room without eyes. Inanimate things included. Real radar bolted into his skull. Worth testing. He spends 2 upgrade points and lifts olfactory perception from yellow to blue. Description rewrites itself. Where it read presence, it now reads vitality, which means a target can hold their breath till it bursts, and he'll still feel them move. Range swells. 10 meters now. Nothing alive slips past him inside 10 meters. Pocket radar. Boom. Panel refresh. Strength 59. Constitution 51. Speed 66. Spirit 56. Talents. Eye of Insight Gold, plus Zombie Aura, Super Hearing, Power Enhancement, and Speed Enhancement at yellow. Dimensional Space at yellow. Olfactory Perception now blue. Bloodthirsty Recovery blue. Blood Tracking yellow. 9 upgrade points banked. 1 refreshing a day. 1 killing value to his name. 15 free attributes still in reserve. Combat rating 2-star initial. 5 minutes later he's sitting in the courtyard, bored out of his skull, staring at the gate. Guard duty is throttling his kill rate to nothing. He can't leave the ancestral hall. He opens the chat channel. Thin trickle of messages. Because most survivors are new here, a few beg to trade for glutinous rice, black dog blood, rooster blood, the classics for handling Jiangxi. One poor soul, whose mission is to find toilet paper in the deep wilderness, asks whether a traded role would even count. Big brain move. Because find an object missions are the softest of the lot. Anyone in the world can just trade him a role and his mission clears. Another guy is locked in a prison cell staring at 2 old rifles on the far wall with no key and no hammer. Offering cards to anyone who can spring him. Someone offers to go save him. Someone else laughs that the rescuer only wants the guns. Yuan sighs at how few messages there are, which tells him plainly how few people can actually kill these things. Jiangxi wear 100 weaknesses, but without the right items in hand, killing one is like climbing to heaven. Still, clever ones are onto something. Taking the shortcut, asking for help instead of swinging at the problem. Notice that gap, right? And you bank a decent pile of killing value without killing a thing. Which is exactly what he's about to do. He pulls items out of the dimensional space one after another. Glutinous rice, rooster blood, boy's urine, black dog blood, melon seeds, bottled drinks, mineral water, bread, peachwood swords, lists every one of them on the trading floor for barter, cards only, nothing else accepted. This is why they call dimensional space a god-tier gift in here. Then his ears twitch. He's on his feet grinning. Company. 2 stiff shapes come hopping merrily up to the courtyard gate. Plain Jiangxi. By the Eye of Insight, boring stats. 10 minutes for 2 zombies is a joke of a rate. The 2 Jiangxi work their nostrils. Fix on him, lunge together with a low growl. He can't be bothered. Red light wakes in his hand. He stamps the ground and blurs out of where he stood. The blade flashes once. Both zombies lock up mid-air. Black seams open across each body. They drop apart into 4 smoking charred halves. He blinks back to his chair and sits down to wait again. Kill. Wait, wait, kill. An hour of it later, he has the mission mapped. Leave the zombies alone and no fresh ones come. Kill one and the next wave arrives in about 10 minutes. Each wave 1 body larger than the last. Difficulty creeping up by design. A man who only wants to survive can pen himself in the hall and refuse to fight. Wave count stays low. Mission clears itself at dawn. Fine for someone short on strength. Not what Yuan is here for. He came to carve his way through the whole night, and the faster he kills, the more of them he draws. And even this feels too slow. That 10-minute gap between waves is pure agony. So he decides to get reckless. A small red vial appears in his hand. Manhwa Ling blood. Upgraded formula. A seasoning wrung from blood essence. Cut into water. Drags every blood eater within 10 kilometers straight to him. He sets out a basin, fills it, tips the vial in. A thick reek of blood climbs into the sky and rolls outward from the little courtyard in every direction. Now he only has to sit and let them come to him. He drops back into his chair, watches the gate with real anticipation. Somewhere in a cleared patch of woods not far off, ground that human hands once tended, headstones lean everywhere. A graveyard. The reek of blood washes over it, and the earth begins to churn. A pair of black, hairy hands punching up through the soil. Then another. Then 100. Heads and shoulders heaving free. The Jiangshi claw out of their own graves and go hopping, one and all, toward the ancestral hall. Deeper still, in a dark, wet cave, a coffin stands with a strip of yellow talisman paper pasted across it. Faint gold light guttering along the characters. No mere decoration. The blood reek seeps in through the seams. The coffin drinks, pulls the bloody air greedily inside, then starts to shake. The talisman's gold light races and strains to hold the lid down, and loses. The shaking builds, until a crack splits the wood, and the coffin bursts apart in a spray of splinters. What stands in the wreck is a Jiangshi in armor, face like it was doused in acid, beard skin thick with hair, 2 green eyes that crawl right into you. A step above any common Jiangshi. It works its nostrils, hauls the blood scent down deep. The dull green of its stare kindles into something hungry and alive, and it launches out of the cave mouth like a fired shell. None of that reaches Yuan yet. He's just cut down another wave. 7 this time. Frowns at the basin of blood soup. Because 10+ minutes have crawled by without a single extra Jiangshi. Surely a wilderness burial ground is not this empty. 1 vial's reek only holds an hour before it thins. He'd hate to have wasted it. Then the next wave finally pays out. No lured horde yet, but 3 cards. And it goes the way these things always do. Nothing, and nothing, and nothing. And then when it finally drops, it drops big. He'd killed a mountain of zombies without 1 card, and started to think he'd walked out under a bad sign. And here the luck was waiting in this wave all along. 10 pounds of premium glutinous rice, half a liter of boy urine, half a liter of mineral water, 2 anti-zombie goods, and 1 for living on. He pockets all 3 without a thought. Then, a messy clatter of feet drifts in. He goes still, his eyes light. Here they are. He flashes to the gate, raises the flashlight, sweeps the beam across the little wood. And he actually catches his breath. Because the trees are packed solid with hopping shapes, hundreds of them at a glance. The Jiangshi came. He never dreamed the lure would work this well. Crude technology, cruder tactics. With the space feeding them, the combination is nothing to laugh at. For anyone else, hundreds of zombies at once would peel the skin off a 2-star survivor if it didn't kill him outright. Because these things do not fight fair. It's a straight gang beating. And there's the zombie poison waiting on every scratch. For him, it's no trouble at all. He does not fear a mob of monsters. He fears them not showing. Every fear he's ever had traces back to not enough firepower. And firepower is the one thing he's never short of. A black sheen monster of a gun settles into his hands. The magic-modified Vulcan Gatling, out of the dimensional space. 6,000 armor-piercing rounds a minute with no bottom to the magazine. Time to break it in. Heroism swells up in him. But he doesn't fire yet. He turns and pulls back into the ancestral hall, plants himself at the doorway. The cards the monsters drop are his main income, and he's boxed in here anyway, so he has to kill them inside the courtyard to gather the loot. And the hall is a gift of a fort. Walls on every side, no windows, 1 gate. Hold the gate and nothing reaches him from any other angle. Roof 5 or 6 meters up. Unless they sprout wings, nothing to fret over. He flicks out a heavy stone park table, the kind of thing you'd expect to see in a garden. Because he'd kept cramming the upgraded dimensional space full for the plain comfort of it being packed, meaning to use random objects as backup or to drop on someone's head. Here it turns out to be a gun mount. He plants the Vulcan on the stone table, tosses down a chair, sits. Easy, he mutters. The Jiangshi are in no hurry. After a stretch, they finally come hopping in through the gate. Cheerful as ever. Once the leaders have crossed half the courtyard, he squeezes the trigger. with real joy. A metal storm pours out of the muzzle, streams of armor-piercing light hammering into the dense-packed dead, and they stall in their tracks, then drop in swaths like cut wheat, clean, final, right to the end. These things never grasped that they had come to gang up unfairly, only to meet someone who cheats far harder. The front rank got the worst of it, riddled into ragged saves, flesh churned, head simply gone. 6,000 rounds a minute. He holds it down a full 2 minutes. Better than 10,000 rounds before he eases off. Nothing left standing in the courtyard. Part of the courtyard wall is gone too, shot clean off by his own barrage. The Jiangshi that never squeezed inside lie dead outside it. And further out, he can just make out more of them still coming. He takes up the laser sword and runs out to meet the dead. Finishing, scooping cards. Finishing, scooping cards. The whole thing smooth as if he had drilled it 10,000 times. In 20-some seconds, clears the field. 8 cards of every kind. Good yield. He falls into the loop. Kill the monsters. Sweep the field. Kill. Sweep. Never tires of it. Because it's easy and efficient and it pays. So why wouldn't he be happy? The Vulcan in his hands is the only reason it holds up. Any other weapon would have left him high and dry long ago. The reward of knowing what comes. Then, mid-sweep of another card pile, a thin whistle of split air brushes his ear. He stamps down, throws himself sideways, snaps the laser sword up and guards. Only then looks. A tall Jiangshi in dark bronze armor stands where he'd been. Not alarmed. Pleased. Because that build, that aura. Plainly a special one. Eye of Insight sweeps it. Mutated Jiangshi. Combat rating 2-star early stage. Carrying zombie body yellow. Copper skin iron bones yellow. Bloodthirsty recovery blue. Blood tracking yellow. Olfactory perception yellow. Copper skin iron bones on the sheet. Oh, he likes that. Having missed its ambush and watched him slip it, the mutated Jiangshi only spares him a glance. Turns for the hall instead. Drawn to the fat well of blood scent inside. Hungry for that power. Figuring the blood food that just dodged can keep till after. 2 steps in, its vision blurs. The blood food it had shelved is already standing in the doorway. Yuan asks the big fellow, from behind the Vulcan, whether he's ready. It takes the question as a taunt, loads both legs, and all but flies at him through the air. A wall of metal answers, a net of countless rounds. And it feels its whole body punch through in the same instant. Its prized copper skin and iron bones tear like wet paper. Before it can wonder what hit it, dozens of yellow rounds swell up in its eyes, and its head bursts, and the body drops like a wet rag. Prompt gives him 200 killing value. Full rate at last. Kill for kill at the same level. He takes the shed orb. Copper skin iron bones, yellow, acquired. A warm current rolls through him. Bones prickling, skin drawing tight. Quick to come, quick to go. The constitution number doesn't move, but he feels the change in his own frame. He pulls an ordinary dagger, draws it across his forearm. The edge slides over his skin like it's sliding over sheet metal, not even a white line. He leans into it. Only then does a faint red mark rise. He smiles. With defense like this, no common Jiangshi can even open him, and this whole run has quietly parked him in an unbeatable seat. Killing value onward. Prompt lands. Basic mission. Guard the ancestral hall. Complete. 100 killing value paid. Dawn breaks. Mission clear notice hangs in front of him. The corpses heaped through the courtyard crumble into black mist under the first sunlight and bleed away into nothing, leaving a courtyard that looks like it took an artillery barrage. He puts the big gun away and counts the take. 38 cards. 4,823 killing value. Over 4,000 zombies in one night. Merely average by his standards now. Mostly because the later waves thinned as the run went on. The whole neighborhood's dead already drawn down onto him. Mission done. No more reason to sit on the hall. He slips out. Sunlight climbs. The dark pulls back. The Jiangshi retreat to their shadowed holes to lie dormant. Danger easing off long enough for survivors everywhere to set out hunting for other living people. And for supplies. Yuan moves through the forest. Hacks apart a snake that had gone still as a branch by way of camouflage. Walks on. The killing world is not only monsters. It holds plenty of dumb ordinary wildlife too. Weaker than the monsters. So weak that killing them pays no killing value at all. To a normal survivor, they're still a real threat. Because one venomous snake bite can end you, unless you happen to be him. He hasn't gone far when he stops short and fixes on the ground ahead. A few seconds later, the grass thrashes, and a rabbit bolts out, freezes at the sight of a two-legged beast, then kicks off and streaks past him. It's the first crack in a dam. The grass ahead heaves, and rabbits and squirrels and mice pour out in a flood, every one of them ignoring him utterly, tearing past toward his back. Then a wild boar crashes out of the brush and charges him in blind panic. When he sidesteps, it lunges through empty air and never so much as turns its head, just barrels on, snout high, gone behind the scrub in a blink. His face goes hard. He stamps down, springs onto a big tree nearby, climbs to the crown in a few moves, clears the canopy to see out, and there it is. Black smoke boiling up, red light climbing into the sky. Some idiot has flipped the board and set the mountain to light, is his first thought. He's certain it's arson and not nature, because this is zombie ground. The yin here is thick, the trees soaked in it. Wood like that does not catch on its own, and no lightning strike ever raised a blaze this size. He complains out loud that only a fool torches a mountain in daylight, when the zombies are hidden, and there is nothing to burn. And worse, once night falls and the dead come out, a scorched bare slope only makes people easier to find, with nowhere left to hide. Down in the chat channel, the same fury is boiling over. Survivor after survivor screaming about who lit it while they're still up the mountain. One spent the night treed by zombies and climbed down straight into the spreading flames. One woke in his hard-won tree hollow to find his backside on fire. Through the venom, a single instruction spreads. Everyone converge on the fire. There is a village there. A few sharp voices already accusing the loudest complainers of being the arsonist showing their tails. But honest or not, every one of those bodies is turning toward the fire, because that way lies safety and people both. On a path at the forest's edge, two men stand watching the blaze climb. One with a pockmarked face frets to the other, calling him Brother Donkey, worried they'll roast the very people they meant to draw. The long-faced man waves it off. Says anyone who cannot outrun a little fire like this may as well not be breathing. Between a blaze this size and the message just posted, everyone for miles will funnel straight to them. Type arsonist duo, because these two just torched an entire mountain on purpose to funnel refugees into a trapped village. And they don't even know what's about to walk out of that fire. Yuan stands staring into the firelight, chewing on a memory that has just surfaced. Village. Fire. This might be the infamous Dungdong village. As he remembers it, this space holds 9 villages scattered across its regions with mountain ranges walled between them. And in his last life, one of the 9 was notorious, Dungdong Village, for the massacre that wiped it out. 'Cause in the old reports, exactly this, someone torched the surrounding forest. With cover gone and small animals scattered by the flames, the Jiangshi could find no living creatures left to bleed. And a village packed with fresh human meat pulled every zombie for miles down onto itself. A siege. Annihilation. Every survivor turned into the dead one after another. He drops out of the tree and heads for the fire. Because the village was his destination from the start. Not to save anyone, but to find the map inside it. These Jiangshi are unlike common zombies, fiercely bound to their homes, retreating by day to sleep in their own lairs. And if he can find a lair, killing them by daylight runs several times easier than by night. He happens to know where a few lair sites sit, but each is keyed to a different village. With a map in hand, he can push his foresight to its limit, jump village to village, hunt down lair after lair, maybe even turn up a mutated Jiangshi or two worth a trait. His pace picks up. The nearer he gets, the hotter the air. When he reaches the fire, he finds it cut off by a stream 6 or 7 meters across. The far bank in inferno. His side untouched. A crowd already gathered along the water like it's a streamside picnic. Some of them even grilling fish. His arrival turns every head. A man in camouflage with a receding hairline gets up smiling and comes over. Easy manner. Friendly. Asks if Yuan is headed for the village too. You don't slap a smiling face. And his tone is decent enough. So Yuan tells him yes. The man says not to be nervous. Says everyone here is after the same thing. All bound for the village. But the fire ahead is raging and hard to cross for now. Lucky for them, the stream makes a natural fire break. So the whole group is resting here to wait the flames down before crossing the burnt ground. Yuan is welcome to wait with them. Yuan reads him well enough. A forest fire is no easy thing to walk through. The flame is the least of it. The searing radiant heat and the poison gases are the real killers. The temperature alone runs far past what an ordinary body handles. close enough to set clothes alight. Even strengthened survivors would come out dead or half-dead trying to bear it. By his read, the fire needs 2 or 3 hours yet before it can be crossed. He doesn't have hours to burn. He thanks the man for the offer, tells him he's in a hurry and will go on ahead. The man isn't surprised, isn't worried either, because plenty here made the same choice and every one of them came dragging back singed and beaten. Some people only learn once they've paid for it. He tells Yuan to suit himself and drifts back into the crowd, which promptly falls to whispering. One calls him another stubborn fool. Another reminds him he was the same green idiot once. A third coughs that nobody could have guessed how hot and airless it was in there. Then, of all things, they start a betting pool. On how many meters he'll get before he breaks and runs back. The wagers fly. Most of them put him at 10 or 20 meters. One credits him the wit to soak himself and cover his mouth first for another 10. One stakes on his clean clothes that he'll bull straight in and fold at 23. Yuan hears every word. He almost laughs to himself. Because how would these people ever measure him? How would anyone who has never used a cheat understand the joy of it? His nanosuit alone holds a constant temperature and shrugs off flame. So heat and radiant burn are nothing to him. A gas mask handles the poison air. And the only real danger left is open fire itself. A burning branch dropping on his head, which he has already solved. Because he only needs to hang the mouth of the dimensional space open above his head. And nothing that falls can touch him. With that combination, the fire that is death to them is a mild nuisance to him. He ignores the chatter and walks to the stream, which turns out calf-deep and clear to the bottom. Little fish drifting by without a care. His move to cross pulls every eye again. They argue over how he'll do it. Wade and soak himself for the extra distance? Or pick across the stones to stay dry given how clean he keeps himself? One of them, a fellow they call Little Huang, warns from hard experience that the stones are wet and slick and badly spaced. Says there is no crossing them without falling. Swears on his life he will eat one of those stones if Yuan makes it. Calls himself a dog if he breaks his word. Yuan does not want to get wet. That much they read right. And though the water is nothing to wade, he'd rather not. He checks his footing, steps, jumps stone to stone. The slick under his soles never touches his balance. At his stats, 66 speed, 59 strength, a little instability like that is beneath notice. A few bounds carry him clean across, smooth as walking on solid ground. The bank erupts, someone gasping that he actually made it. Someone rounding on Little Huang to ask whether those stones were truly as bad as he swore. Someone else grinning, reminding the poor man that he had just promised to eat a stone. Little Huang's face freezes, works through several colors, and with the whole crowd watching, he finally grits his teeth and pays the forfeit. Barking like a dog until they let him stop. Type, eat the stone, if Little Huang's forfeit just made your day. Because the second-hand embarrassment there is unreal. Then a woman cries out for them all to look. Because Yuan has walked straight into the fire with no protection at all. Every head snaps to the far bank, where he is strolling into the burning ground like a man crossing his own backyard. Unhurried, untroubled, not even coughing. Behind him the crowd churns, insisting it's impossible, that there is no way he doesn't feel the heat, that he is not even short of breath. One decides he must have poured points into Constitution for the heat tolerance. Another argues that only explains the heat and not the breathing. A third lands on the theory that he is holding his breath and moving slow to stretch it out. An old man of about 50 with half-white hair sighs, says it is useless, that a little cleverness will not carry anyone across a fire zone, that Yuan will suffer for it soon enough. Then, a woman screams and points overhead. Every eye jumps to the great tree above Yuan. A fire-knotted branch has just cracked loose and dragged half its neighbors down with it in a chain. A whole cascade of flaming wood pouring down at him like a fiery dragon. It lands in a string of heavy crashes, dust boiling up to swallow him whole. The watchers go pale. This is the exact reason they'd rather wait than cross. The danger that drops from any direction at once. In their place, they'd count themselves lucky to be only crippled. One woman asks whether they should go pull him out. The answers come fast and unanimous. Rescue with what? And who exactly would walk in there? And it is his own bad luck for not listening when everyone said wait. And we are all grown and answer for our own choices. The woman gives it up. She had set it on reflex. Truly, if her hair caught and she went bald over a stranger, she would cry herself to death. Then someone shouts again. Because as the dust and smoke thin, An untouched figure stands in the middle of it, clothes still clean, face still calm, kicking the fallen branches aside and walking on. Like nothing happened. They cannot make sense of it. How a man takes that and comes out spotless. Whether he might have a power. The receding hairline man says gravely that it is the only explanation. That surely he is the big shot who pulled the top rank in the last space. The crowd falls silent, stares after him into the flames with naked envy. Yuan never noticed a second of it, and wouldn't have cared if he had. All he did was drop the falling branches through the dimensional space. Honestly, so long as it isn't a person, this evolved space is a fine thing. Soon he clears the fire and reaches the burnt-out ground where the blaze has already passed. Only scattered flames left chewing at blackened trunks. Every leaf and blade turned to ash, lying thick underfoot. His whole foot sinks in with each step. The heat closes over it. He lifts his boot, finds the sole softening, saved only by its quality from melting outright, which tells him plainly how hot the ash still runs. Though that's the fire having just come through. In 2 or 3 hours it'll have cooled. He runs part of the nanosuit down over his feet to sheath the boots, because he does not fear the heat, but they do. A normal survivor at 10-point constitution would have unburnt shoes and cooked feet inside 100 more steps. The air is thick with acrid gas. He pulls a gas mask from the space and fits it before going on. With no brush or thicket left to fight, his pace jumps, each step lighter. Half an hour later, a village stands in the distance with a crowd gathered at its mouth. Dungdong Village's entrance. 2 groups squared off. A gloomy, middle-aged man with triangular eyes leads a dozen people in matching camouflage, old rifles in hand, plugging the village gate and letting no one through. While a ragged crowd of survivors bunches a few meters off, they rail at him. That the village is not his, that barring them is going too far, that charging an entry toll makes him no better than a street thug, that survivors are meant to stand together and cutting people off will not end well for him. The triangular-eyed man doesn't move a muscle. Then, as if their noise finally grates on him, he raises his rifle and fires a round into the sky, barks at them all to shut up. The crowd's voices choke off at once. He tells them flat that he has no time to play, that they either hand over one item off their person to enter, or clear off and stop being an eyesore, warns them not to blame him later, because once night falls, the open ground offers no cover, and if something happens to them out there, they are not to regret it. Then he works his mind, and an ice cone forms out of nothing at his side, hanging in the air. Its point leveled at the crowd. The man has a power. His words boil everyone's blood. But between the rifle in his hand and the ice hovering beside him, nobody dares let the anger out. It isn't that they have no spine. It's the corpse lying on the ground not far off. A standing reminder that this man truly kills. He sneers at their swallowed fury, calls them a pack of trash, says he is done wasting breath, that they hand over items and enter, or get lost and stop blocking his business. Then he throws a subtle signal to 2 or 3 planted in the crowd. They take the cue at once. The first to step out is Brother Donkey. The long-faced arsonist from the fire. Yuan notes him immediately, because our boy remembers that face. This is the guy who set the entire mountain on fire. Brother Donkey wears a timid mask now, asks whether whatever he finds inside the village is his to keep. The triangular-eyed man narrows his eyes, says that he, General Gang, is not a man who leaves others no room, that he collects the entry toll and nothing more, and whatever you pull out of the village is yours by your own ability. Dilapidated as the place is, he says there are still metal weapons and food inside, and getting your hands on those makes killing zombies easy. The crowd wavers. Brother Donkey grits his teeth, declares he will pay, produces a white bandage from his shirt, a first aid bandage he says he bought from the killing mall for 10 killing value, asks if that buys him a way in. The man grins wide, calls him a straightforward little brother, waves him through the moment the bandage changes hands. A moment later, Brother Donkey's voice carries out of the village, marveling that there is actually glutinous rice in here, that now he need not fear the zombies. The hesitating crowd shivers with wanting, because everyone knows what glutinous rice does to Jiangxi. If a throwaway item buys a night shelter, plus weapons, plus glutinous rice, the price starts to sound fair. Then a pockmarked man, the other arsonist, jumps out claiming he's a newcomer, with nothing from the space but a peachwood spear he whittled from a tree in the hills. Asks if that will do. General Gang, delighted, says it will. His 2 shills are sharp and good at their parts. He's playing the herd instinct in plain greed like an instrument. Because in this world only a scheme wins hearts, and you do not get people to hand over their things without one. Pockmark goes in. Soon his voice rings out too, crowing that he has found glutinous rice as well, that he will kill a few more monsters tonight and lift his rating for sure. At that, the crowd breaks and surges forward, shoving their belongings at the guards to get in and scavenge. The veterans all have something to give. The newcomers who don't can whittle something or throw it up on the trading floor to swap. As for those with truly nothing to offer, no helping them. Since a man who won't even make the effort has no business inside. General Gang can no longer hold his grin. His third planted shill hasn't even been spent, and the effect is already this good. Get the mood right, and the herd follows on its own. They stripped the village once already, and the glutinous rice was left as bait, since so few of them could ever use a whole storm of it. Plenty to hand around, and it's only a 2-day stay. Type planted shills. If you clock the con, the second General Gang's first buddy stepped out. Because this whole village is basically a scam booth. By the time Yuan reaches the village mouth, he has caught only the back half of the farce, but it's enough to reconstruct the front. An interesting bunch. He never heard of a power user named General Gang in his last life, which most likely means the man died in this space, neatly, probably from a bad matchup he brought on himself. Before long, more than half the crowd is inside, the rest shut out for the crime of having nothing. 2 choices remain for them: leave now and find somewhere to hide from the night zombies, or stay and be the first meet the dead reach when the dark comes. Yuan sweeps the leftovers with a glance and starts toward General Gang, because he needs a map, and he doesn't know if the village even holds one. So the sensible move is to ask the man in charge outright. General Gang is happily watching his people tally the loot when he feels someone bearing down on him. His head comes up, rifle rising with it, telling Yuan to go hand over items with the others. His eyes measure Yuan as he says it, and something careful creeps into them. Because Yuan's face and clothes are clean, his bearing calm. Under a leveled rifle he doesn't show a flicker of fear. This one, he decides, is not simple. Yuan tells him he is not entering the village. He wants to ask him for something. General Gang narrows his eyes. Says playful, that Yuan had better not be about to ask for his life, the way it always goes on television. He feels a strange pressure off Yuan and cannot place it. But he is not afraid, not with a gun in his hand, and more than one gun on his side, and a power besides. Yuan shakes his head, says he has no use for his life, that he wants a map of the surrounding villages, asks if the man has one. General Gang raises an eyebrow. He genuinely has no map, never gave the thing a thought. But hearing Yuan want one, he decides a map is worth attention. He keeps his face flat, says, so what if he has one, and so what if he does not? And even if he did, what is Yuan prepared to trade? Then Yuan says the thing that throws him. He is trading for their lives. Hand over the map, and Yuan does not kill them. The gold in the back of Yuan's eyes fades. The eye of insight has already read the man. General Gang. Combat rating 1-star early stage. A single trait to strip. Cold ice manipulation. Blue grade. So it is confirmed. Humans carry traits too, and they can drop them too. His power runs blue grade. No wonder he struts. But we are countrymen, so Yuan is still willing to hand him a chance. And as long as he is sensible, Yuan will not kill him for the trait. The premise being that he is sensible. Yuan's offer only makes General Gang laugh in anger. He asks who handed Yuan the confidence, whether his gun has gone dull, or Yuan's guts have grown. He cannot see through Yuan, but no matter. He has already guessed Yuan is likely a power user too. Since nothing else explains the swagger, a man is either stupid or strong, and Yuan is plainly not stupid, so he must be very sure of himself, or just arrogant. A big forest holds every kind of bird, he thinks, and here is one who owns a power just like his and still lets it go to his head. Even so, he does not take Yuan lightly, because abilities come in every shape, and he cannot know whether Yuan's turns firearms useless. After 2 seconds of silence, he makes an offer. If Yuan can take one shot from him, he will give him the map. He means to force Yuan's power out, adult to adult. Because does anyone truly stop at one shot? If a round happens to wound Yuan, he will not be polite about the follow-up. Yuan looks at him, and then smiles. A very small smile. The kind of smile that a smart audience learns to fear from a hero. Because our boy is not about to take one shot. Our boy is about to embarrass this man in front of his entire operation. He tells General Gang, fine, One shot, rules honored, the onlookers murmur. Because this is a rare public spectacle. A stranger walked into their gatekeeper's front yard, refused to pay a toll, and challenged the strongest man on the perimeter to a duel of hits. Some are betting this stranger gets a bullet through his shoulder and drops. Some are betting on a face-off of powers. All of them lean in. General Gang raises the rifle, not the ice power. He's going for the mundane weapon first, because if a bullet drops Yuan, all his ice reserves stay banked for the finish. Smart, cheap, efficient. He sights along the barrel, aims for the meat of the shoulder. Not lethal, just enough to force Yuan's ability out. Then he fires. The muzzle flashes. Round leaves the barrel and vanishes. Actually vanishes. Mid-air, halfway between them. The crowd blinks. General Gang blinks. He fired. He clearly fired. He felt the recoil. He heard the shot. He saw the muzzle flash. But there is no bullet in Yuan, and no impact behind Yuan, and no mark on the ground. The bullet is just gone. He racks the bolt. Fires again. Just to check. Vanishes again. Third round. Vanishes. His face slowly whites out. Because power users are one thing. He gets ice, somebody else gets fire. Somebody else grows wings. But a power that eats bullets in mid-air? He's never heard of such a thing. Yuan tilts his head. Politely reminds him that the deal was one shot, not three. So technically Yuan has already taken his shot. And is owed a map. The crowd goes dead silent. Because Yuan is right. Deal was one shot. General Gang fired one shot. Yuan took it. Now the dead is on the other side. Type eat the bullet if you just watched General Gang lose that duel with zero movement from Yuan. Because our boy did not even blink. Not one twitch. He just stood there and swallowed the ammo like a vacuum cleaner. General Gang's hand trembles on the rifle. Because if his bullets cannot touch this man, his ice cones are not going to either. He can already feel it. That instinctive thing predators feel when the prey is bigger than them. He tries one last play, draws heavily from his mana, summons 3 ice cones in the air, points them at Yuan. Calm as ever, Yuan tells him, "General, be sensible." General Gang's teeth grind. He fires all 3 cones. 3 needles of ice tear through the air, aimed at Yuan's chest. They vanish. Halfway between them, same as the bullets. But this time, 3 needles of ice materialize back out of empty air, a meter from General Gang's own face, pointed straight at him. His breath catches, his whole body freezes, because his own ice is now hanging inches from his eyes. Waiting for someone to flick the switch, Yuan asks him one more time, gently, whether he has a map. General Gang says he'll go check. He turns, walks into the village. Faster than dignified, the 3 ice cones hover in place. Don't follow him, just sit there where his face used to be, as a promise. The crowd around the gate is very, very quiet, because they just watched a power user get educated, and nobody in the whole gaggle wants to be the next lesson. 2 minutes later, General Gang comes back with an old folded map of the region. 9 villages plotted on it. Roads, mountain passes, streams, everything Yuan needed. He hands it over with both hands like he's offering tribute. Yuan takes the map, folds it, nods. Then he tells General Gang, one last thing. He wants the entry tolls returned to every survivor still standing at the gate. Immediately. Publicly. And he wants General Gang to invite the ones who had nothing to trade to come inside too. General Gang's face twitches. He does not want to do this. But the 3 ice cones still hover in his memory. He grits his teeth and nods. Motions to his crew. Every item collected today gets returned. Every stranded survivor gets waved in. Free of charge, the crowd erupts. Not in cheering. That would embarrass General Gang further. Just in relieved noise. Everyone grabbing their traded items back. Everyone streaming into the village to hunt for supplies. The 2 arsonists, Brother Donkey and Pockmark, are watching all of this from behind General Gang. And their faces have gone very, very pale, because they were paid shills. And their entire con just collapsed. And the whole village is now about to find out what glutinous rice really costs at this scale. Yuan doesn't linger. He got what he came for. Slings the map into the dimensional space. Turns to leave. Then he pauses, looks back at General Gang, and, because he cannot resist a face slap done properly, asks casually whether the general recognizes the 2 men standing behind him, Brother Donkey and Pockmark specifically. General Gang says of course he does. Those are his best 2 performers on the shill routine. Yuan tells him they are also the ones who set the mountain on fire. General Gang blinks. Head turns, because setting the mountain on fire wasn't part of the plan. Setting the mountain on fire is what turns Dungdong Village into a Jiangxi buffet the moment night falls. Setting the mountain on fire is what dooms his entire operation. Brother Donkey opens his mouth. Says it wasn't him. The whole crowd, who just watched Yuan casually neutralize General Gang, has decided within a single second that Yuan is the source of truth in this village. If Yuan says these two lit the fire, these two lit the fire. General Gang's ice cones reform beside him, this time not pointed at Yuan, pointed at his two shills. Brother Donkey and Pockmark both start scrambling backward, stammering, explaining, blaming each other in the space of half a breath. Yuan just watches for a beat, then walks off, out of the gate, down the road, toward the next village on the map. Behind him, in the courtyard, the sound of very cold justice getting delivered echoes briefly, and then goes quiet. Type, arson tax paid, if that whole cleanup made you nod. Because our boy solved a chain of problems in one visit, got the map, freed the village, punished the con, and torched the arsonists, figuratively this time, on his way out. He walks under the noon sun, map in hand, 9 villages plotted, 6 mutated Jiangxi lair sites he already remembers from his old life. His panel humming with new traits stacked on old ones. His killing value ticking back up thanks to a fresh completed mission. And he grins. Because this whole descent, the whole second one, is going to be a series of visits. Every village, every lair, every mutated Jiangxi trait he can peel off. By the time the second space closes, our boy is going to walk out with a stat sheet that turns the leaderboard from a discussion into a joke. But there's a shadow on the horizon he cannot see yet, because remember, back in the real world, Bureau 816 is up and running. Joe Bin is running big data sweeps on every survivor, every message, every online post, every phone call, and Yuan, who fired his boss dramatically, hung up on him, blacklisted him, and then vanished from every social system before day one, is exactly the kind of anomaly a big data sweep flags first. Joe Bin has a lightning ball in his palm, a whole department at his back, and a very specific curiosity about the person who ranked SS first in the world. Meanwhile, the mist rolls thicker over provinces. Zombies stir at its edges. The next real-world monster crawls toward the light. And somewhere out there, a man named Jotay is still walking around free, still making friends, still smiling at the people he will one day sell for scraps. He has no idea a ghost is sharpening the knife for him. He has no idea the ghost he already killed is stacking traits like a collector. He has no idea his name has been carved into a hit list 6 hours before the apocalypse even began. He will find out. That's a promise this story is built on. Yuan folds the map, slips into the mountain pass. His silhouette shrinks against the noon light. Somewhere in the distance, a hopping shape moves through the shadows of a cave. A mutated Jiangxi with copper skin and iron bones and a trait sheet Yuan has not yet read. Our boy is going to read it very soon. And on that road, right at the edge of the map, right at the start of a new hunt, this part ends. Because the next descent isn't going to be a slaughter, it's going to be a shopping spree.